A withered old woman.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Sunday, February 1st, 2015. Time for your Gitmo Nation Media Assassination Episode 6, 9, or 2.
This is No Agenda.
Compiling a healthy news diet for you from FEMA Region 6 in the capital of the Drone Star State, Austin, Tejas. In the morning, everybody, I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're fogged in, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Well, it's winter.
Across the street.
It's winter. That's what you
Can't
get.
see across the street. It's fog. Well, we don't normally get... Fog is not part of the winter. It tends to be off-season.
Okay.
You have two different kinds of... two or three.
June, isn't it June? You get June gloom?
We sometimes get June fog. It varies a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But there's two kinds of fog. There's this fog, which is bay fog. It comes in from the ocean, and which is normal for Mediterranean climate. It keeps the area cool. Normally doesn't gets burned off, and in the burning off process, it keeps the area cool. The other kind, which you get more in the valleys and in the inner parts of California, is Thule fog.
Thule?
And that stuff
Thule?
is nasty.
Thule?
It's called Thule fog.
T-U-L-I?
I have no idea how you spell it. It could be Toolie for all.
Okay.
But it's always been called Thule fog since I was a kid.
Uh-huh.
And it comes from the ground up in certain areas and under certain climatic conditions, and it puts visibility at zero. And this is what results. It used to result, not so much now, but every so often it'll crop up against a cycle, like 85 car pile up.
Yeah, oh man, yeah.
Because these people will drive in this fog, and I swear to you, I've been in it. You cannot see beyond about 2 feet from your front bumper.
Growing up in the Netherlands, by the way, I think it's Thule or Tule.
It could be TH, yeah, Thule.
Thule. Drive in the Netherlands as a kid. There was a lot of fog, and they would have probably a couple times a year. They would have what they would call a kettingbotsing, which would be a chain reaction accident. And you would have 100, 200 car pileup.
It's unbelievable.
So it's nuts, man, and scary because people like really die. Not nice.
People. Yeah. Well, you get rammed into, and I mean, if you're cautious, it shouldn't be a problem, but nobody is, and it's almost impossible actually to be on the road in a really bad Thule fog because you have to. I've had the situation where I've had to open my window and look down
just to see the white stripe.
Yeah.
That's how I've flown that way before. Landing, like what is there?
So here's
center
the
line. Huh? There we go. Huh?
So here's the question.
Okay.
I remember when I was in France in the 70s.
Man, that's when women had very hairy legs.
Yeah, I don't know what there's all these people with these generalities about French hair.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, everybody all the French cars had yellow headlamps.
Yes, the halogens, which were illegal in some countries.
Well, they were yellow, though. Mm-hmm. No, we're talking about actually colored. They were fog lights.
Well, we called them halogen, and they were yellow. That's just what we called them. But yeah, this piercing yellow lights.
They're fog lights, and we used to have fog lights available as options on some cars here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because it was apparently a lot of Thule fog in France, and they needed these fog lights on the cars. And the yellow lights do penetrate the fog a few more feet. They're not that great, but they do help. What happened to those lights? They don't have them there anymore. I haven't seen those lights for 20 years.
Good question. I would think that the modern headlights that we have are better.
No.
Than the yellows?
No.
Huh.
No.
Huh.
When you got fog and you hit it with a bright white light, it just blows you out. You can't, you hit the highlights in fog. It's like you can't see anything. I'm just thinking, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's an EU rule.
I don't know.
Yellow lights.
I do know one thing. We have a lot of new Dutch listeners today who might be able to help us.
Oh, yes.
My
right.
goodness.
This is the new saga that we're following.
Yeah, this is interesting.
By the way, this guy's got your exact same name.
Which guy?
This Adam Curry.
Yeah, which guy is that?
The guy that they're talking about.
in Holland? That guy? Oh, man. Yeah. Well, they finally are using different pictures of me. It's not just all the goofy. And man, I look like Bruce Jenner in some of those. It's not a good look.
which is something we haven't talked about.
Bruce Jenner. Just my look.
No, Bruce Jenner turning into a woman.
Yeah, I don't need to talk about Bruce Jenner.
No, I don't think it's important.
Although I will say I heard yesterday that in the 70s, there were already a lot of rumors about him being transgendered. In the 70s.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so, and it's kind of two stories that go crisscross, and I'll come back to one in a moment. So we had our show. We talked a little bit about what's going on in my personal life on Thursday. And as the show ended, a lot of people were sending me links to something going on in the Netherlands, which I want to come back to, which was this some guy looking like Anonymous with a gun with a silencer, hijacked the Dutch state-run media news program, talking about, how he had to do a statement and, had going to blow stuff up. And a lot of things happened. I want to get to that in a moment. So really nothing happened. There was no response to anything that we talked about until Friday, like noon. And then stuff was just kind of exploding. Okay. And what I inadvertently, because we talked about it at the top of the show, it meant no work for anybody. So they could all say, if you're interested in listening to what Adam said, and they just would post a link straight to the episode, to the full MP3, which is actually good because that way, not only do we get a lot of links to sound files, but then it was pretty much the whole show. Anyone could keep listening if they wanted to. So that was a win. And, nobody.
Yeah, it's about time.
Yeah, well, nobody's going to go and cut something out and post it.
Too much work.
I didn't even think about that, but it turned out pretty well. Now, here's what's interesting. No, first I want to say the support I've received from the No Agenda community has been pretty stellar. People have been saying the nicest things, everything. And people praying, not just for me, but for Mickey and Christina and everybody, being extremely loving and nice. I've got offers. I can stay anywhere in the world. I've got naked pictures from women and men. Everything is ready for me.
I think that I should mention something here. We talked about it at the house.
Uh-huh.
We think, as a collective,
that is the Dvorak Collective.
Dvorak Collective believes that since you enjoy this so much, and you would probably be really happy because you do have all these contacts all over especially the United States, because you've done the hot pockets thing, you've stayed at different driveways.
Yes.
We think there's a lot of driveways out there for you, and you should buy a nice Airstream and just get out of the place you're staying at and just hit the road full time. The amount of money you could accumulate, because your expenses are going to be quite low, and the number of people and the goodwill that you can generate from being on the road on a trailer, I think is just a great idea.
And should I tell you something? This is a common idea. This is not just the Dvorak Collective. But this is something that I've received continuously.
Yeah, they're telling you this is the cosmic message.
Well, I got 6 months lease on this place, and then I could do that if I wanted, I guess.
Oh, it'd be great.
I don't know. Where should I go?
I'm coming from Minot, North Dakota.
Should I just drive around just randomly, or nah?
Wherever the wind, you'll be sitting there reading a newspaper, and you'll be in Lincoln, Nebraska, and you'll be saying, "Oh, this is interesting. What's going on?"
Let's go there.
Festival. Let's go there. A big festival in Springfield, Missouri. It's not that far. You hit the road. You go to the big festival. You can go up to the Calgary Stampede.
I've been to the Calgary Stampede.
Well, not with the trailer.
No, I have not been with the trailer. No. Well. The problem is, then show prep is difficult. I'm driving a lot. Then
you're going to settle down here and there for maybe a week or two.
You talk a big game.
I'm too old, but let me say that if I was you, I'd do this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Do you have a tow package on the Lexus?
The Lexus is not that. What you want is a nice truck.
I'm just asking.
No. I don't even know if you can put one on there. Whatever the case, you want it'd be funny looking though.
That's what I mean.
You want a nice truck, and you want an Airstream, and you want roomy.
I'm thinking, okay, I think the idea is good, but I think I need a driver.
Well, you can pick up some women along the way and have them drive once in a while. I don't know.
There it is.
That'll keep you. That, by the way, will keep you from driving around too much. If you don't, if you think you need to drive, you drive from place to place to place, and you stay a while and meet the locals.
It's a consideration.
There's so many No Agenda listeners.
It's a consideration.
Okay, we'll work on it later.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so now moving on to, and really fantastic, and it's been so incredibly nice. Just, yeah. Some people are also very worried. It was a funny email I got this morning. Let me just read this to you. It's like the show is going to be ruined. That was the basic message. Where was it? Maybe I don't know what I did with it. But it was basically, now that your relationship is over, you're probably going to turn into another Dvorak, and then the show will suck.
What does that mean?
Like I'm going to be grumpy or something. What does that mean? I'm just telling you what this is what people are saying. It's the collective.
Who is this? I'm going to ban him.
I got to find it now.
Go on with the story about the Dutch media.
I'll find it later. Okay. Now here's what was interesting to me. That now this appeared in newspapers, in gossip magazine, gossip blogs, kind of like TMZ type shows. And what interested me the most was the decisions that were made in determining where this recording came from. Was it a radio show? Was it a podcast? Was it a digital radio show?
Stop a second. You mean the reporters were having difficulty determining this thing?
I would say the reporters were having difficulty explaining it. So, as an example.
Oh, I see. Right.
As an example.
For the reading audience.
The main headline was Adam Curry said this in his radio show.
Exactly.
And kind of the one newspaper that actually did quite a good job of translating what I said. And it really went into depth on his radio program, which is a podcast, which is like they really tried to explain a podcast, which was interesting.
This is editing. This is the editors that make these guys do that.
Absolutely.
The reporter probably, because I've been through this, the reporter knows what it means.
Of course.
Is,
but
he knows the audience probably knows what a podcast is, and they can use the word podcast. And in today's day and age, people can, especially if they're reading online, they can look stuff up.
But so it shows the disrespect, really. You reader, you're stupid because you've never heard of this word. You're so dumb you don't know what it is.
Explain it to you.
Explain it to you. But it was at least treated as a real media property, which was interesting. Then you had the TMZ TV show. I only saw one, but it was enough for me. RTL Boulevard, and the host of that show, so he had such a disdain. Of course, he's in entertainment, right? And then he's like, "Well, Adam said something on this podcast, like anyone for that podcast. All right, it's not really official, but it's a podcast." Which shows you just the total, just. I don't know. It's like podcast. It's not real. You're not real. That's not really any kind of media. We're real media.
Yeah, that's what he's.
That's exactly what he's saying.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he's saying.
Knowing he's doomed.
Yeah, and I found that to be, really interesting. My ex-wife, of course, just took advantage of this to go promote some other product, whatever.
That's what you do.
What you do, exactly. Promoting pantyhose or whatever. Oh my goodness. You laugh at my life. Yes, I think you're right. I need to go away, far away, in an Airstream.
Oh, it'd be great.
Yeah.
We'll get it all painted up with the No Agenda logo on the side.
The big bullseye. Shoot here. So anyway, so that was
right where the bathroom is.
Yeah. So that was kind of that. There's not much else to discuss. I guess.
Well, now, I did look at I did a search and did some looking and with the Google Translate try to read some of these articles. It's hilarious. I should read one of them. It's like how does this make any sense? The translation in this world is pathetic. Anyway, I just would see if there's anything coming up that I'd have to be wary of, so I don't, but it looked like the same old story.
It's the same
retold
stuff.
a million times.
And it's kind of off. It'll be off the radar again very quickly, because did you follow what happened with this? I think it's almost like a 6-week cycle, Dutch style, with the news broadcast in the Netherlands. This was truly bizarre. So 8 o'clock news. Instead of going to, and this is the Dutch, the NOS. It's so it's like the BBC, the Dutch government kind of run, the nonpartisan, and it's just black. It doesn't switch over. The news doesn't start, and then for the viewer, now we know a lot more after the fact, but for the viewer, after 45 minutes, all of a sudden we go live to a studio, and there's this kid. Who is, I don't know if he was Moroccan, or it's all of it's kind of irrelevant because it was so crazy and bizarre. But he's a good-looking kid, short cropped hair, but he's dressed like Anonymous, John. He has the black suit with a thin black tie, the white shirt. He's dressed like someone from Anonymous.
It sounds like he's just like a black Muslim from the United States selling bean pie.
Have you seen pictures of him?
No. I should go look and see what he looks like.
So
I'm unaware of the story.
This was
just to let you know.
Okay, and so I'm seeing the video of this, and then now they're broadcasting this live. This is going out on the station from the news set. You can hear a guy talking to him, and he's carrying. And I saw this immediately. He's carrying like a huge automatic weapon with a silencer. I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And I'm looking at this thing. I don't recognize this weapon. This doesn't look real. And what terrorist uses silencers? Come on, this old school. No one does that. Why?
He looks like a spy.
He's there to make some noise. He's there because he wanted to read a statement, and actually have so he wanted to read a statement on the air. Now, so here is the sequence of events. This guy walks into the media park, as they call it, which should be better protected, and goes up to the reception desk and hands the guy there a note that says, "Okay, when you read this, I'm translating directly in real time because I don't."
By the way, I should mention this to interrupt. There's very little coverage of this in the United States. They don't want to give, because they know that they're giving people ideas when they show stuff like this. And it would be hilarious if it started happening here. But this is I think our listeners will be the only ones that know about this because I can't even find it on here.
Interesting. So his letter translating in real time. By the time when you read this, do not panic. Don't start yelling and warning your colleagues. Just pretend like nothing is wrong. I am heavily armed. If you just cooperate with me, then nothing will happen to you. Please know I am not alone. There are 5 more of me, plus 98 hackers ready for a huge cyber attack. Above that, there are 8 heavy explosives that have been placed around the country with radioactive material. If you do not take me...
well, wait a minute. Okay.
Yeah, but wait for it.
Yeah, finish.
And by the way, FBI has agents in all countries, also in the Netherlands. So if you do not take me to Studio 8 to hijack the broadcast of the news, we will be forced to turn to action. You would not want to have that on your conscience, would you? So please take me now to Studio 8. And then and underneath that, he has a little statement he was going to make. So here's where it already starts to go wacky for me. So this reception guy takes him to Studio 10, which is not Studio 8, where Studio 8's about to go live, and he's in Studio 10. There is a director there, and there's some other guys getting ready to do a stand-up, like he's in Beirut or whatever. You know how that goes. Oh, Bill, switch over to that studio, which is just 2 floors up. And so and he's talking to the kid, and the director who was in the booth records it all. And the kid's like, "Hey, man, this is taking too long. Where are the guys? We got to get rolling on this." And then all of a sudden, and all of this is we now after the fact have full on video from, including they decided to turn this guy and put him on live.
Well, hey, ratings.
Yeah. Well, I'll get back to that. Of course, it's rated. They should have put him on immediately, but okay. And for the 45 minutes before they put him on, it's just please stand by. There's no news, no nothing. And everybody in the broadcast center is cowering in the corner. And then all of a sudden you hear yelling and you see the kid like, what? And, drop the gun. And he drops the gun immediately. Get on the ground. He gets on the ground. Then cops come in, which it's not like a SWAT team, but this you have to see it to understand the Dutch cops. They have, orange emergency jackets on. And the whole thing was so bizarre. It was either, for me, very poorly acted, or this kid was completely set up, with thinking that there would be 98 hackers ready to go and 5 other guys by someone who completely indoctrinated this schmuck. And he said, we're going to be talking about things, we've been sent by intelligence agencies to talk about things that are really heavy shit for the world, but all citizens have to understand what's really going on. Total crackpot talk. Although I'm sure what he was thinking is probably not far from correct, but that just doesn't work very well in mainstream. And so this is all going down. And here's the strange thing. So one, they didn't put it on at first. Then they switched it live. But then they did not go back to your regular programming. They did not go to roundtable, discussion of what just happened. They kept it on standby. After the kid's already been arrested, they go to black and then standby. And I think they repeated some really old crappy ass thing.
What?
I know. It's so, because all these people.
This is the bonanza opportunity.
Right. But here's the funny thing. So the Dutch people, there's this show in Holland called Wie is de Mol? Who's the Mole? And it's a reality. I don't know. I've never watched it, but it's a reality show. And you have these celebrities, celebrities, and they're traveling somewhere, and somebody's the mole. Someone's there to either hijack things or ruin or whatever it is.
Somebody's the mole.
The mole, like the shill.
And
the
this
mole.
is like a show,
a reality show.
So they're contributing to the mythos of moles. And okay, go on.
Yeah. And this show is very popular, and because, of course, it's C and D celebrities, and the Dutch like to talk about, I think it's that guy, I think she's the mole, whatever. And then I, of course, was following as much as I could, the tweeters and all this, and people were so mad that they had preempted their show.
Yeah.
And really, they were putting big posts. They were posting like, "Dude, you ruined our show," and that really became the news.
Yeah,
more than this kid. That would happen
here.
More than this kid. So I'm thinking, just looking at face value of what this is, and it can only be two things. And by the way, when the Dutch, they've gotten much better in their filmmaking skills. But I used to have to laugh a lot about Dutch cinema films were pretty much like, the Germans are coming. That's kind of the level.
Yeah, okay. Well, back to the train here.
Right. So, but no, the point is, it could have been just a very poorly acted production put in place.
Yeah.
With all of the sequence of all of these things of this guy.
I think you're right from the beginning.
FBI setup.
Some cycle of some sort.
Setup.
Put this Joker in there. I'm looking at him now. And by the way, the only reference I can find in Western media is in the Irish press. Mm. And it's very difficult to find this because, again, I believe they put these things out there, but they don't want copycats. So you won't run the story at all. I wouldn't run the story for that same reason. The guy looks just like some schmuck.
Okay,
he looks like a character
I have
in an old James Bond movie.
Right, here I have 60s. Here are the details. He's half Egyptian, 19 years old. Both parents apparently deceased. Psychotic. The reporting now is he was a psychotic, poor, sad guy who watched too many Illuminati videos. Dude, I'm only one suit and tie away from this guy.
Yeah, well, not if you get in the Airstream.
Oh, it just reeks of silliness to have this happen. And of course, the discussion the next day is, this is like Charlie Hebdo and Je suis Charlie. Though we have to protect our journalists and we have to. Okay,
who was hurt? Who was shot? Who was killed?
No, nobody. But the fact that he got in. That's what they're talking about.
Oh, this is just more add to the security state.
Anyway, I have both videos. When he's in the studio, and then a reverse angle, I guess, done by the cops or somebody who was following the cops all the way in of the takedown and the letter in the show notes at 692.noagendanotes.com. All of this, though, led to a horrible nightmare for me.
Oh, cool. Maybe this will make it interesting.
No, nothing will make it. I woke up bathed in sweat because I was talking to you on the show, and I was thinking in English, but I could only speak Dutch, and you weren't understanding me. And I woke up sweating. You have to imagine. I heard what I was saying in English in my head, but
but you were speaking Dutch,
and you were.
And I was going, "What is wrong with you?"
Yes,
you don't need to do the show in Dutch. I can't understand a word you're saying.
Yeah.
Talking about it, so I do have a related clip.
Mm-hmm.
This should be, where did it go? Was the question. It should be under Ask Adam.
Oh, I do not see an Ask Adam on the list, but maybe the way you like to do things.
No. It should start with Ask Adam. Well, maybe I don't have.
How about price of oil in Texas?
No. It would say Ask Adam. I apparently did not move the clip over.
Oh.
Very disappointed.
Well, then you want to email that to me, and I can play a clip?
I don't know where it's on the other computer.
Okay.
Well, that's very disappointing because I got up.
Why don't you? Oh, come on, go get it. Just email it to me. It's on the other computer.
Well, let me take a quick look. Why don't you entertain the audience with some ribald tales?
Okay. I will entertain the audience with. This is a public service announcement. Of course, today in the United States of Gitmo Nation, one of the finest hours of propaganda and militaristic indoctrination of the entire population of the United States. We have the Super Bowl, which, of course, will contain many, many military moments of flyovers and marching and, really very important things for us to feel. And then we'll have these guys, try to kill each other on the field. And
I'm not going to spend all this time trying to get to the damn clip.
And the FAA has put out a public service announcement about the Super Bowl for today.
Going to the big game? Have fun. Cheer on your team. And keep it a no-drone zone. Don't spoil the game. Leave your drone at home.
Oh, there you go. Leave your drone at home.
What?
Leave your drone at home. Do not bring your drone to the game. Because, don't worry, we'll provide the drones.
Leave your drone at home. Actually, that's going to be a problem with football games because people are not going to leave their drones at home. They'll think it's hilarious.
Exactly.
Because you can if you're good, you can control one of those things without looking at the controls. Put it between your legs, and you send this drone out there, and then have it land on the quarter.
But shall I tell you what the real issue is? It's not about that. It's about the rights.
The what?
NFL, the rights. NFL does not want people shooting video of their game.
Oh, no, they own all the rights.
Hey, you think you're going to get in trouble if you have a camera on your drone? Oh, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
So Jane Harmon, who used to be, was she senator or Congress?
She was a congresswoman from California, right. Southern California.
Right. And she, of course, now is super annoying now that she's no longer that.
She was always annoying, but now she's really annoying.
Really annoying. And she's a CNN correspondent, but she also is a chair, I think, at the Wilson Center.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah, and this is some kind of think tank, or what is the Wilson? It must be.
It's like it's a think tank,
like a Council on Foreign Relations drinking club.
It's more of a drinking club, probably.
Okay. And she has a J. Johnson on.
You sure it's not the Panetta Institute?
No, this is the Wilson Center. This is her thing. This is her thing.
Oh, right. Okay, go.
And she has a J. Johnson on.
J. Johnson's on?
J. Johnson is there, and she's J.
Yeah, J.
Some people call him J. We call him J, because that's how you write his name.
That's the way he pronounces it, J.
And she asked him about the Super Bowl, if he was concerned, and because of course we have to put fear into people about our sporting events.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you reassure the public that precautions are being taken? And I'm giving you a chance to offer any comments you want about deflated footballs.
What?
Yeah.
So she thinks that's being funny.
Oh, the audience did too. Listen.
I'm going to stay away from deflated footballs. I'm going to stay away from expressing any preference None of my teams got anywhere close to the Super Bowl this year.
How many teams does he have?
Apparently, he's owner of a number of football teams. I don't know.
And
really, do people have more than one team they root for?
Well, me. I've talked about this before.
Yeah, you have.
I only root for the winners.
There you go.
I was there yesterday.
How Johnson of you?
Yes, it's very
saw firsthand the marvelous cooperation and partnership that the federal government has with Arizona State Public Safety, with the Glendale Police Department, the Phoenix Police Department. Met with the governor, and it's a marvelous partnership. It seems to be working seamlessly. I'm confident that we've taken tremendous precautions for the Super Bowl. There are magnetometers everywhere. We're screening all the people who come.
But how will that detect the invisible bombs?
Yeah, the guys that run up their butt.
That's not good.
Into the stadium, including
they need to get scanners.
Let me see. He was going to say something about that. Hold on. I'll roll back a second.
She should have asked him.
No, she's too stupid.
We're screening all the people who come into the stadium.
Screening. Oh, it's screening.
Including workers. We're screening all the vehicles that get within a certain distance of the stadium. And so I encouraged at a press conference there yesterday that I'm confident that we'll have a safe and successful game.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if somebody asked me, what do you fear most about the Super Bowl? I said, overtime.
Oh, big laugh.
No laugh. Zero laugh. No one got it.
Because nobody knows anything about football in that group. They just know about Inflategate because it's gotten so much attention.
Well, Johnson knows all about it.
Overtime. Something did happen at one of these games, like something really spectacular.
Oh,
the NFL would tank.
Yeah. No,
it would be a major, but there's nothing going on in this country. Why don't we? We had what? All these things are set up by the FBI. All of our terrorist events.
Yeah. But now every terrorist events overseas.
Well, you can point to them and say, "Oh, what if that happened here? Oh, what if that happened here?"
Well, that's not being done, which I do find interesting. I do not know why this has not been picked up yet. It's probably just because of Super Bowl. That's do you think?
Right, because Super Bowl is the number one show on television on an annual basis. They have more.
Although the Academy Awards would like to tell you that's not true.
No, they know it's true. It's a huge number.
Yeah. 60, like 70 million or something they get.
Yeah, watching. It says borderline, something like that. And then all that's why they do all the crazy commercials, supposedly.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous personally, and I think it's militarized, and I think there's too much discussion about it. I think it detracts from actual news. If people like football, and I do, it's fine. Let's play the game and let's watch it. But I don't think we should be talking about it for 2 weeks solid.
I have
jokes.
It's an advertising bonanza. That's what it is. That's what it's all
about the advertising.
So I've decided I'm going to put the shelves together while watching the game out of the corner of my eye.
While watching the game,
a while, yeah. Since when did Crate and Barrel decide they could be IKEA?
They've always been borderline IKEA.
Well, they've gone full in IKEA. Now you have to put the whole thing together.
Oh, I didn't know you. Oh, that part. Well, that's because somebody did some looking around and said, what can we save if we don't put the stuff together?
We're nuts.
Well, we could put it in smaller packages. That'll save us millions. And then we could, they give what do the hex keys cost? Well, that'll rack up the bill, probably costing hundreds of thousands of dollars for those little keys.
Yeah, I got one of those in this box.
Yeah, a little key. And, good. Gives you something to do.
Not included is the screwdriver. You got to bring your own screwdriver.
Well, you wouldn't need a screwdriver for the little key.
No, but it's
IKEA stuff doesn't require screwdrivers ever. It just gives you the key.
I've got 12 screws, 18 white things.
Screws. Oh, that's a bad idea.
Looks a little too much. But anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
So we should probably jump to our little segment here before we start the show.
That is a good idea, and I do, of course, want to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C. Dvorak, where the C stands for chit.
And in the morning to you, Adam Curry, and in the morning to all ships and sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and all the dames and knights out there.
And in the morning, everyone in the chat room, big audience today. Big audience. NoAgendaStream.com. Good to have you all on board. Depleting your $9.2 million value as a human resource to the government. This is a good way to spend it on Super Bowl Sunday. In the morning to our artist, John Fletcher. Brought us art for episode 691. Was that 2 in a row for John?
Yes, it was.
I think it was. Yeah.
On it when
but we also had
classic. As I stumble and mumble, classic. The classic no agenda random number theory,
and truly great art across the board. I felt from Thursday.
Oh yeah, no, it was a great selection.
It was really, really good.
People should go check it out.
So go to noagendaartgenerator.com. It is always appreciated what you guys come up with, and of course we use some of that art in the newsletter. I didn't get to the newsletter, and I didn't get to see it before you sent it out.
What were you doing anyway all day?
Did you know that Texas has award-winning wines?
Yeah, of course. They have some out by Lubbock. Has got an area which is by a river, so it's nice and cool. It's also up north in the Panhandle. There's a number of wineries.
I went to
the runs by Lubbock are the best.
I went to Grape Creek Vineyards, which is near Fredericksburg.
Okay,
and they claim they have over 100 medals in the past 2 years from San Francisco to New York.
Could be.
And so I did a tasting.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
You did a tasting?
Yeah, and I joined their club.
Winery again?
It's Grape Creek.
GrapeCreek.com.
GrapeCreek.com. They don't sell to retail. You can only buy it there, or they will ship it to you. And I was blown away. I didn't know that award-winning vineyards in Texas. And
actually, there's some good wines. I don't know if they, Pheasant Ridge. It used to be Llano Estacado. Used to be.
Let me tell you what I had. You tell me if you've heard of any of these.
Well, probably not, because there's so many. It's like California. They keep cropping up. But go on.
The Rendezvous.
No.
Bellissimo. Mosaic.
No.
How about Euphoria, Serendipity?
What is these guys on ecstasy when they're naming these things?
I'm telling you, they had big awards, like gold in San Francisco. How many? Is there any like gold standard thing for wine? Here we go.
I think the International Wines and Spirits competition for American competitions is probably the best. But there's also the Chronicle, and they have. The Sacramento's got something going on at the State Fair. There's Orange County's got a wine tasting that's accepted as reasonable.
Here, I took a photo. Hold on a second. San Francisco International
Wines and Spirits. Yeah, that's the one. It's now just wines because they have a separate spirits competition.
So that was June 2000.
I used to taste in that group.
Yeah, this is why I wanted to tell you about it. So they won 8 medals, double gold, best in class in 2013. Long Beach Grand Cru. Is that worth it? 9 medals, 2 gold. Pacific Rim competition.
I never even heard of that one.
Pacific Rim competition, San Bernardino. No.
Yeah, everybody's in on the act.
New World Wine Competition, Ontario. No. No. San Francisco Chronicle.
Yeah. That's a local. They started doing it out of the blue.
We should do one of these.
You know what it was? It was these board reporters.
We should do an international wine competition. I don't think we could do one in Austin.
The way it works, I know how they do it. You have to. It's a fee to enter your wine. They don't just pick wines and buy them.
It's like one of those art fairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
You pay to play.
Well, anyway, I bought you a case.
You bought me a case of Grape Creek?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, I'm a member of the club.
A member of the club. You just showed up.
Well, they have a patio, and it was raining yesterday. It was horrible weather, but needed to get out. And lovely friends taking me out.
So they took you to the Grape Creek.
Nurse Tracy actually took me out.
Now, Nurse Tracy, where is this place? Fredericksburg.
Fredericksburg, yes.
Where are they getting their grapes?
Right there. They grow in the, yes. Yeah, there must be 20 vineyards all in this one strip of Route 290.
How far away is it from Austin?
About 50, 60 miles.
It's a nice little town.
Fredericksburg is hilarious.
It's hilarious?
Yeah, it's like you walk back in time to 1890.
It looks like it.
But little shops of just specialty shops, like kitchen shop. Oh my God. That's a place to go bankrupt.
Well, any kitchen shop is a place to go bankrupt.
And then there's this place that it's in the kitchen. They have the whole place is preserves and butters and dips and all homemade, all made on premises, and they have everything. You can sample everything.
So it's pretty much almost just south of the dead center of Texas.
Yes, exactly.
It's a little.
It's hill country though. It's hill country.
Oh, it's still hill. So it's pleasant.
Very well. It was raining, but yeah.
Huh.
And so anyway, so at the vineyard, you have the tasting, and of course, the tasting. There's like a bachelorette party. It's just like, So there was a patio with heaters, which was nice. Let's go sit there. But so members only. What is this bull crap? Well, what does it cost to be a member? Nothing. But you have to.
I think that's a Texas law.
But what?
No, seriously.
No.
I bet you that there's a bunch of places, a bunch of counties in Texas that are quasi dry, and you have to be a member of something or other to get in to drink.
No, because you could drink in the tasting areas.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Texas is dry. You cannot buy alcohol on Sunday in Austin, even. I've discovered. Yeah, you know me. I need alcohol.
You should always have that's why you should have a cellar.
Not anymore. So I became a member. The only stipulation is that they send you some bottles of wine every 5 times a year, whatever. So I got you some wine. I'll be sending it to you.
All right, I'll check it out.
Yeah, some of their award-winning.
Okay, I'll figure it out. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Let's get to our group of people that helped us on this show, because we did have a plea that went out saying that we needed some more donations because we were falling into the pit there. So it turned out that people are loving the show. Although there's a lot of controversy over the
shortening of the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have people saying, you're right, it should be shortened. In fact, we just got a note from one of our Dame Lizzie's dad, who agreed with this. Let me see if I find this.
Well, that's one of the few that are agreeers.
No, I've seen other agreers. And we also had like the one of our police.
Look it up.
Oh, sorry.
What was that?
No. I wanted to play a Lizzie. I have a Lizzie drop somewhere. Lizzie. But I only have Christmas stuff from Lizzie. No, wait, I have this. Here we go.
Merry Christmas, Adam and John.
Yeah, it is.
Here's some clips for your donation segment.
Right.
Well, we didn't play that on Christmas.
Yeah, we did. We played a lot of stuff on Christmas.
Oh, we did? Okay. Yeah. Anyway, there's also other people that you know what my feelings are.
I know what your feelings are. Then I would say, looking at the donations we received today, you were right. We did a shorter show, and donations are up.
Exactly. And I think that had something to do with it, to be honest.
I think so, yes.
Sir Russell Williams in Boise, Idaho, came in at the top with $700, as a matter of fact. Mm-hmm. I'm going to bump myself up the Baron today, but I'm going to do it in 2 donations. The first will be $700, and since episode 700 is coming up soon, I'm hoping it will qualify me for double producership.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll do that.
All right.
Second of 8628 will round me up to Baron. For my barony, I would claim Southwest Idaho, and Eric kvetched in the note.
Why not all of Idaho?
Take all of Idaho.
Yeah, I think he's the only Baron.
Yeah, he can take the whole place.
Yeah.
As for jingles, I'm asking something a little. It says usual, but usual. Okay, right. But it's been a rough 2014, and a symbolic release to start 2015 would be nice.
Okay.
I would like the following clips.
Okay.
Knighting, sword, and draw, which is the
the swoosh. Yeah.
We need to. Oh, and then we need to kill them. It's a funny combo.
Okay.
Knighting, sword, chop. And if you'd follow that up with a karma, which I'll need to help me get right with the world after the display of metaphorical violence.
Okay. I think I can do that.
We need to kill them. We need to kill them. You've got karma.
That worked for me.
Yeah. I'm very. That was Sir Russell Williams of Idaho.
Yeah.
And then we have
the red corner, wearing the black trunks with gold trim. He has a record of 33 wins, 0 losses, and 1 draw. He is the Grand Duke of Belgium and France, Sir Stephen Von Pell.
Yeah, the Grand Duke returns.
Hey.
Okay. Stephen Pelsmacher is our Grand Duke of France and Belgium, 692, name of the show. He's a show member of the show 692 Club.
Yep.
I humbly apologize for being several months behind in my listening to the show. I did catch up on the recent sad news, though. So this is most of all a combined show of support for the BPITU and for dear Adam in this hour of personal need.
Oh.
I thank you for both for all you do, and hope to be able to enjoy the show for many years to come. Thank you for your courage.
Thank you, Grand Duke. How kind.
Be anonymous.
And by the way, he is. We haven't had in a long time a show club member, 692.
There'll be plenty for show 700. We hope.
Yeah. Well, and Sir Russell Williams already.
Russell
there.
Williams.
Yeah.
Be anonymous. Be anonymous. Be anonymous. In Oaktown, 56789.
Nice.
Beautiful donation.
Yeah.
Morgan Corkill in Coogee, New South Wales, Australia is 333.33. He says, all the usual stuff. You are obviously awesome people, and my life is immeasurably better for having listened to your show.
Wow.
We appreciate that. I am donating as I want some karma for my upcoming flight on Air Asia, so I do not die.
Hey,
I want to spread the word to all of you who do not already know. This is a totally crap airline, and I would recommend anyone thinking of flying with them not to do so. I will never fly with them again. Our flights have been changed, canceled, moved. Now I will be spending 18 hours in Kuala Lumpur with 2 young children. Awesome.
As long as you got leashes on those kids, you should be good to go.
It'd be useful.
Yeah.
Keep up the good work and keep on trucking. If it's not too much trouble, I'd love to hear the Ebola song. Yeah. It totally cracks me up and it gets stuck in my head, but this is okay as it makes me smile.
Ebola, he come from Africa, give diarrhea.
Hey, what happened to that Ebola? Why are we not? Are you dead yet?
I have Ebola. I got a story on it coming up.
Oh, good. Good.
Right. Nicholas Principe in Raleigh, North Carolina, 333.33.
Thank you, Nicholas.
A super donation for Super Slave Bowl.
XLIX.
49, I believe.
Is it 49?
That's be 50. Let's see, 50-40.
XL.
49. Yeah.
49.
XL would be 40.
And then IX9, yeah, 49.
We used to have to do that in grammar school. Nobody even knows what it means anymore.
No. That's why they say OSX.
Right.
Kids don't know. No, it's 10.
I say OXS. X.
And so do I.
Christopher Kitterman in Walnut Creek, California, also 333.33. So these donations come in, and as soon as I send the newsletter, I get a bunch of donations come in. They came in better than the last time, which I mentioned, and there was $13. This is a little more. And the first donation comes from a guy named Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
The second donation from a guy named Cameron. More proof.
Oh.
Christopher Kitterman in Walnut Creek, California, 333.33. Hey, guys, ITM, and thank you for your courage. Love the show, including the pre-stream, which constantly contains a great mix of music and jingles. I'm writing for Job Karma is what he says.
He's writing in for some job karma, yeah.
I've been reorganized out of my company's senior management team, and my 5-year run as chief dude named Ben is winding down.
Oh, no.
For a special jingle request, you had a mashup of the dude named Ben testimony and doing the Twit jingle a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I can find that.
Okay. If you could get all that with a job karma, it'd be great. Chris Kitterman, Walnut Creek. P.S. Thanks and karma to my wife and best friend Kristen, who has been very supportive in these challenging times.
I didn't actually interact directly with people in the IT arena. Somebody whose name was...
In tech.
Gibson's
I
nuts.
can't even remember his last name. I think his first name may have been Ben.
All right. Two in the twit.
Dude named Ben.
I've forgotten about this one.
Dude named Ben.
Dude named Ben.
I like it.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Well, I forgot about that one, too.
Yeah, I liked it, actually.
Sir Tom Derry in Yokosuka, Japan, 252. He'll be our first associate executive producer for show 692. Dear John and Adam, I am preparing to separate from the U.S. Navy after 20 years of dedicated and faithful service. Some job karma would be helpful. Since the jobs report for December was 252,000, I thought 252 would be fitting. I have a short note on the show.
Yeah, I put that in the show notes. It's not a show. He had put was that him who did that? The analysis of Goto Jogo.
Oh, is that him?
I'm thinking, was that him? I'm not sure.
We're going to have to...
I put no matter. I have that in the show notes anyway.
Okay, good. A short note. I've been listening for many years, and I can say it has changed, and there's no going back. Only the listener can say if the change was good or bad. Both of you, with the help of the worldwide network of producers, are delivering outstanding news and analysis, as opposed to in the past, I guess. No longer are you just making personal observations and working on hunches. You two guys sitting around having a discussion about personal experience, and what they sense is going on has become a real inquiry and research.
Yeah. Well, that's also with the help of producers around the world who give us real insight.
This may not appeal to the fans of what has been in the past, which is more bullshit and less fact.
Right.
I think the show has more punch, and that may be too much for some. And John's correct about the length of the show being too long.
Oh,
there's another guy.
There you go.
I recommend 90 minutes, and the show notes do the
90 minutes.
Yeah, he's really that's harsh.
Yeah. Well, he probably wants 3 90-minute show, which is not going to happen.
No, he doesn't say that. He just says 90 minutes.
Okay.
No, 3 shows not going to happen. We tried that once.
It won't work.
We can't do a good show.
No.
Scenic Labs, LLC, DBA, Blue Sea.
Hold on a second. Didn't he want something? Didn't he want?
I don't see that he wants. Give him. Oh yeah, karma. Job
karma. See, I knew
jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
By the way, Sir Russell, who becomes Baron today, he just communicated and said he would be more than honored to protect all of Idaho.
Okay, well, he's got Idaho.
You got Idaho.
You got it.
You got Idaho.
You got it. Scenic Labs, LLC, DBA, Blue Scenes, 252. Another 252, probably for a different reason. Glad I checked. The address you gave was no agenda at PayPal.org. I figured you didn't own that domain name. And fortunately, the funds were unclaimed, so I canceled it. Oh, he sent, I guess, to no agenda. I don't know what he did.
Okay.
He said a note separately should make more sense. Then we'll get to that later, I guess, somehow. But it's $252 came in somehow or some other. Matuz Berezecki. I'm thinking. Matuz Berezecki, no note.
I have a note from earlier in the week from Matuz.
Okay, that's probably what he wants.
Matuz here, No Agenda Associate Executive Producer from a while ago, long overdue for a donation coming soon. That would be today. Just landed in Austin. Oh, have a few things to say. 1, girls here are stunning. Not sure why Hollywood isn't in Austin. 2, up for a quick drink sometime, Monday or Tuesday. Oh, I guess I missed that one. Sorry, Matuz. That was the 20th January. Oops. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know if he's still in Austin or shoot. Hit me up again. And thank you very much for the support of the show.
Let's see if there's any notes to me. No. Okay. James Sutton in Arlington, Massachusetts. And we have a blank page here. There may be something. Let's look.
I have nothing from him.
Sutton, S-U-T-T-O.
I think.
You know what I hate?
Well, where do I start?
You open up a box to type in a term or a search term, for example, and it's got the little blinking thing in there, blinking like as though it's live, and it's not.
It's not. Oh, where it's not. The focus is not actually in the field you need to start typing in.
Yeah.
Yeah. A huge UI complaint.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no note from James. He can send us something if he wants to later. Samuel Brown, $234.56 from West Winfield, New York. Thanks for your amazing shows twice a week. My last donation of $69.69 came in just after the streak ended, and it hasn't worked. You got to get in during the streak. You could have kept the streak going 1 week earlier. So it's time to up my game. Can I get a jobs karma and karma for the whole No Agenda family?
Of course.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Well, there you go.
Intel Armor LLC in Portlandia, Oregon, 22222. Hello, John and Adam. Sorry to hear about the lackluster support this month. We've listened to you for quite a while here at Intel Armor. Yeah, I guess Intel Armor. Mm-hmm. And can't imagine a world where we didn't have you two to listen to while we assiduously sell screen protectors. I know it's not an exciting line of business, but hearing you guys bantering and providing your unique perspectives on the media and the government always livens up our days.
Aww.
Thanks for all the work you do. Can you please add Diane Marks to the birthday list?
Pretty sure she's on.
She seems to be. Robert Kane, 21488 from Columbiana, Alabama.
This is a Valentine's Day, so it's good for a double hit.
24, yeah, you'll be a double producer here already.
Mm-hmm.
Answering the douchebag check call with my ham version of a Valentine's donation, 21488. Sorry to hear about your personal issues, Adam. No questions, as is none of my business, but I wanted to let you know that you have a lot of friends out here and you could lean on if you need to. John, maybe you could pick out a jingle or two to make Adam chuckle.
Okay.
73 N4IXT.
Yeah.
You know, before every show, I say to myself, I'm going to think of one of the old jingles, and maybe Adam will get a kick out of it, or if you can even find it. But let's play with the Hillary Clippity Clop song.
The Clippity Clop. You threw me for a loop. Okay. Yeah. Hold on. No, let me find it then. Clippity Clop.
Song.
Yeah. Song. What do you mean song?
It's a song.
Is it any different than anything we've used?
No, we used to use it all the time.
Yeah.
It's an old Western song.
Yes, I know.
It's Clippity Clop. Just Clippity Clop.
That one?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't play the whole thing. Where she says there's one with her talking in it.
Yeah, there's that one.
It's Clippity Clop.
The message is clear.
Just Clippity Clop.
Yeah, that's an old one, all right.
That's not the one either. But okay.
I don't. Yeah.
There's one where she says the message is clear. Then she says we came, we saw.
Oh, okay. That would be Clippity Clop New. Oh, yes. It's Clippity Clop New.
It's Clippity Clop.
The message is clear.
Just Clippity Clop.
No, that's all I got.
I'm telling you.
No.
Another one out there.
No, we have.
But no, it's okay. It's fine.
Well, this is the one you're confused with.
So, I mean, that is the land of.
No, that's not it.
I could be confused. Let's move on.
Yeah, please.
Sir Christian Herzog.
Don't ever do that again.
What? Play the Clippity Clop song?
Just. No, it's like throw me off guard, man.
Well, it's one I wanted. I'm trying to start the show. Thinking it to myself, what clip have we played forever?
Then you should email me that before we start.
It's going to take you forever to find it.
Yeah, okay.
Sir Herzog in Elwood, Illinois, 21415.
Nice.
Which is cute. Before I get into the meat, my prior donation took me to Baronet, but that part of my note seems to have gotten missed.
Oh.
Does this make me a black baronet? I feel like donating this show has caused myself and other producers to bank some karma. Several producers who worked together until just recently were let go at our previous employer when they decided they just don't want to do what we did anymore.
This is the second donation of people who are getting canned.
This is the problem with this.
Depressing.
In spite of this job-related turmoil, it seems that we're all going to come out of this okay and maybe even bank a little bit from severance, which is a good thing. The things, it's actually not a bad time to pick up severance and then get a job someplace else, because I think things are picking up actually because of the low price of oil,
right?
Which I can only attribute to the karmic residue of listening to the No Agenda show. I don't want to mention the company, but the other producers will recognize this note. But I don't know why we can't mention the company. If you could hit us with some jobs, your head is gone, a karmic chaser, I'm sure it will go a long way to bringing good results, not just to our group, but any other producers and listeners who might be swept up in similar circumstances. Love the Miss Universe Q&A review. Yes, they are incredibly hot, but not very bright women. But it almost seems painful to subject them to these stupid questions. And Adam, hang in there.
Man. He says, man. Just hang in there, man.
Yeah.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs. And your head is gone.
You've got karma.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I edit some of these sentences as they go along, and I said it says hang in there, man. I thought hang in there would be better than hang in there, man.
I'm sorry.
In terms of the way it sounds when it's read.
I will never question you again.
Well, you can question me all you want, and that's not true. Sir Dean Barron of the Gold Coast in Beaver Lake, Washington, 21415 again.
Great. Thank you.
A bit of support from Sir Dean Barron of the Gold Coast.
Yay.
And then we have, I clicked down on
Sir J.D. Barron of Silicon Valley.
Sir J.D. Barron of Silicon Valley.
Yep.
214, San Jose. Dear Crackpot Buzzkill ITM from Sir J.D. Barron of Silicon Valley, reporting in to tell you that the psychic cry from JCD's painful newsletter woke me up. I don't know, it was painful. Woke me up from a sound sleep minutes before the clock was about to strike. This should have been bumped. I told him that we're going to run this on Thursday, but now it's going to be here. We're going to see it on the Thursday spreadsheet, so we have to be leery of it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we'll give him today's credit. Minutes before this strike midnight, then walk in a zombie-like cadence to my computer and make this donation, once again free my mind from the zombie slave mentality. Due to PayPal's general crap-iness, my eloquent PayPal note was disappeared, and this donation is now dated 12 a.m. February 1st, 12:08, by the way, instead of January 31st. Please accept a special double producer Valentine 214 donation with much love to the both of you. Tear it up for Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday edition of the No Agenda show. For today's show, give yourselves the peerage, okay, and me a jobs, little girl, yay, boom shakalaka, karma shout out. I'm starting a new job on Monday, and I credit No Agenda Karma for bringing this great opportunity to me out of the blue. For Valentine's Day, I would like a shout out to my two lovely ladies, my wife, with whom I'm still madly in love with, still after all these years, and our delightful daughter on the threshold of her teen years. Good luck with that. And No Agenda damehood as well. Please keep up the great work on the best podcast in the universe, my favorite in all of sports, comedy, and spoken word performances categories.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Which means he nominated us for the podcast
That's right,
award.
the podcast
And by
award.
the way, now, do they vote for these awards after the nomination, or the nominations the votes?
I have no idea. I don't know. Are these? I thought this is nominations. This isn't votes.
I thought it was nominations.
Oh, okay. Well, then there'll be another round.
Not necessarily. I could be wrong.
I don't know
about how it works.
I don't know.
Jared Pfaffenbach.
Wait, you missed Guy Boazzi?
Oh, Guy Boazzi. Yes, I did. We have another missed one I'm going to bring up in the second half of the show. Guy Boazzi in Israel, 214. Not was times by any means, but contributing to the best podcast in the universe is not a choice. If the show dies, let me start over. Not was times by any means, but contributing to the best podcast in the universe is not a choice. If the show dies, all you boners do what? Contribute today. Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka. Boom shakalaka.
I don't know. I think that was a kind of a dramatic read.
It was tight.
Jared Pfaffenbach in Byron, Minnesota nuts. 214. Instead of a proper note, here are some bullet points of why I'm donating to the best podcast.
What next? PowerPoints?
We have PowerPoint. It's a PowerPoint.
Here's a PowerPoint of why I'm donating.
Point number 1, I've been a douchebag for way too long.
Oh.
Point number 2, I was moved by John's story in the newsletter. 3, I finally understand the value for value model. It's interesting. Next, I love a 2-for-1 deal, which is 214. He gets 2 producerships if you get a Valentine's Day promotion. Next, I would like to hear the clip we saw, he died. Huh. Followed by don't raff.
Okay.
And next, I need some get well karma from my wife, Lindy.
Mm-hmm.
I sure hope it isn't the measles.
Oh, boy.
And then keep it up, guys. Love you. And he says he's drunk.
Oh, very good. Excellent.
So we're assuming his Valentine's call out is for his wife, Lindy.
We hope so.
So, I mean, that is the land of unconfirmed.
Yes, we came, we saw, he died.
Don't laugh.
Did it have anything to do with
Why are you laughing?
You've got
Shut up.
karma.
That is a great combo.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it works. I liked it too.
Take a note. Sir Paul Schneider in Edmonton, Alberta. Cute little town, I'd say. 214. They have a space museum there. Please credit me as Sir Paul Schneider. This should make me a baron. I'll claim Edmonton since I don't think anyone else has. Also, please add me to the birthday list for February 4th. You're on.
Yeah, good to go.
Milk. I said milk. Mark Alisair in Houston, Texas. 214. Another one. Adam and John, I received my bonus just in time to make my donation to the best podcast in the universe. Adam, stay strong, and I wish you both a happy Valentine's Day with great appreciation, Mark.
Oh, thank you.
Macy Prachowski in Stad, Deutschland, 214.
Stad?
It says Stad.
Stade.
ITM, Adam, and DC. Oh, AC and DC. Oh, ITM, AC, I get it. Thank you for your courage. Thank you also for guarding the truth, like on show 690, that some Polish dudes cracked Enigma. Fuck the movie. Love from a Polish seafarer in Deutschland.
Yeah, I got
Slave strong.
Yeah, I got a lot. Got a lot of comments on that. The Poles are mad, and rightly so.
Yeah,
slam, man. That's no good.
No,
there's not a mention of them in the movie.
No,
it's a farce.
It's a farce. Dave Dolan, $201.15 from Berlin, Connecticut. Thank you for the best podcast in the universe, Sir Christopher Dolan.
I always have to think Dave D, Mickey D, Ditchin. What is it? Dave D, Mickey. Never mind. Onward. Hello,
yeah. Sir Christopher Dolan, and a couple last ones here. Sir Don Kuehl in Windham, New Hampshire, 201.
Kale. It's Kale.
Hey, Keel. It's Keel. It's not Kale.
Keel.
Keel.
Yes, Keel. Yes.
Keel. Sir Don Keel here. Time to donate. I hear your pain. Please call out Dave White as a douchebag for not donating. It is the assholes like him that, they get mean at the guy.
Really? Yeah, man.
Must be a friend. Who reap the tremendous value your show offers and keeps us sane without doing their part in keeping the universe in balance. Please, John, pick your favorite clip. I know it's two clips, but I can think of one in a second. Hang in. Sorry about Mickey, but life will be amazing for you. Chin up, Sir Don of Windham.
Thank you, Sir Don. Yeah, I'll just pick one.
ISIS.
We will follow them to the gates of hell.
ISIS.
I feel good.
Wish these things were spread out. Wish these things were spread out more over 2 episodes.
Well, it'd be nice if we had balance.
Yeah.
I would have picked that exact one.
I know. That's why I played.
Nikolai Stepanov in London, UK, $200.33. Donation from North London. Please accept this $200 donation as proof that value for value model works. Thank you for your outstanding analysis and astonishing entertainment value that you bring.
Thank you.
Oh, astonishing. Please do not reduce the duration of the show. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. As it is vital for all of us enslaved commuters out there.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Please keep up the great work. And for all the folks out there, don't forget that you're listening to the best podcast in the universe. And it's great responsibility and honor to contribute and support the show. I'd like to request job karma for myself and general purpose karma for my enslaved family that's just getting by in Gitmo Nation East in hopes of better days.
Jobs,
Enslaved family.
jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
I like that. Enslaved. I wore my slave T-shirt to the spin class the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ever since 12 Years a Slave, the movie, it's no longer appropriate, apparently. People don't get the joke. It's this barcode. I'm a slave of the system. They're like, what's his slave T-shirt?
You making fun of the black man?
Yeah. That was insinuated. Yeah.
Sean Akers in Missouri, $200.02. Yeah, you can read the whole thing if you want. I like John to read it out loud on the show. Okay. First, John, I'd like to say that I'm always amused by your spunk and vigor that you inject into broadcasted conversations over the internet. You're sharp, witty. This is a good note.
Yeah,
Sharp,
this is a
witty,
great
and I
note.
can tell that you want to have a good time. That's pretty good in my book.
On to Adam. Oh, boy.
You heard him.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
On to Adam. On to Adam. I recall a conversation that you and Adam were having in the No Agenda podcast about how if someone says, hey, are you all right? That's not necessarily what someone wants to hear at the moment. A more mature approach would be to already recognize that something is wrong and do something to perhaps help turn that person's mood around for a little bit, provided that the gravity of their situation that is pulling them down is not too serious or dire. Of course, that's just a gamble you have to take. But Adam showed a side of himself that was telling of an emotional nature. And I think it's one that a lot of us have experienced before, and suffice it to say it's not fun. So that's why I've decided to step forward finally and make a contribution to the show. By the way, we had a lot of first-time donors this show, and I want to thank all of them for finally, because once you invest, you'll.
It's like Girl Scout cookies. I mean, once you have one,
especially those mint ones,
the green box.
Ugh. Anyway, he goes on. He says that, in my opinion, I've started listening to Agenda Show. My life has gradually improved, and I've evolved as a person for which I am presently and consciously thankful. And he says, stop drinking alcohol, everybody.
All right. I'm just going to give him a de-douching since he's brand new. Might as well.
You've been de-douched.
All right. Almost there.
Almost done. And, of course, we'll have nobody. Now it's an opportunity for Thursday people.
That's right. If you want to be an exec or associate exec, come on in.
Now, Maurice Tate, I think, has the best note. He says it all. He's in Vallejo, California, up here by me. Chicks dig producers.
Enough said.
They tell me. Matthew, these are $200 guys. Matthew Pepico in Hiram, Georgia. Dear Guardians of Reality, I received a newsletter. John reaching out to producers, the greatest podcast in the universe for donations. It was 8 p.m. on a Saturday night. When I received the mail, I peered on the note, and it was drawn to the highlighted section. Support of the show has decreased. Say no more. Since I was absolutely doing nothing, like a typical broke slave on a Saturday night, I ran upstairs to the office to donate my 200 Federal Reserve notes. My wife and I enjoy your show on our weekly commute. It's nice to come home and discuss show topics instead of just staring mindly at Facebook on our iPhones.
You might actually want to have sex with each other or something. Just thought.
Wait
a minute, John. Hello. What's his wife's name? Matthew.
Wife.
Matthew and wife. Put down the Facebook.
Hello.
Experience intercourse.
You help us to not be that couple at Crapplebee's. Thank you for your courage.
Oh, I snorted.
Yeah, you did this.
Oh, man. All right, can we move on? What do they want? What do they want?
We would like karma for America's newest airline and mini evacuation test this week. What?
I don't know what that's
Along with L Sharpton, Resist We Much, and WTC 7 won't go away.
Matt and MJ. All right, of course.
But resist we much. We must and we will much about that be committed.
WTC 7 won't go away.
You've got karma.
There you go.
Check out Eric P. This is John Grumling in Battlement Mesa, Colorado, 200. Check out EricPetersAutos.com, a libertarian car guy site based on the value for value model after Eric was screwed by Google's so-called algorithm. He has been running a model similar to No Agenda, although he does advertise products he actually uses. Similar to No Agenda, he has inside jokes and memes that take a while to get used to. And quite a few regulars who add plenty to the conversation. Remember, the more time spent with the real news, the less time you'll spend with the old crappy stuff. Ed Laboutier in Hesperia, California, 200. You guys are my greatest source of news analysis and humor. Please keep up the great work. Sir Rocketman is his real name. Sir Rocket.
Yep.
Mark Knopf in Portland, Oregon is our last associate executive producer, and he says longtime boner, first-time donor. Another one.
All right, I'll deduce.
John's recent comments about shortening the show finally got me to donate. 3 hours is great. 3 hours, 5 days a week would be even better.
Yeah, it's what you think.
If we had a staff of 20, we still wouldn't be able to do it.
No.
Don't shorten the show and force me to fill my podcast listening with bullcrap NPR spin-off podcasts that all my friends are raving about.
Okay.
I want to thank all these folks for paying attention and coming in with a strong front end of the donations. And the second part of it is just as good.
Yep. And
this will happen. And, of course, we're trying to eliminate a up and down cycle like this, but we don't object to it happening.
No.
I want to remind you, it's Dvorak.org/NA for the Thursday show, 693.
And a quick dedouching for Mark, since he's first-time donor.
You've been de-douched.
And thank you, everybody. We'll have more in our second segment coming up.
Dvorak.org/NA. And, of course, you can always participate in helping us out by going out there and propagating the formula.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
There was actual news this week. My favorite, of course, is the. By the way, I've decided I'm going to start taking mini clips out so you don't have to produce anything. When I think something should be an evergreen that you can drop in at the drop of a hat and maybe use at the end of the show. And an example is this one, which I'll play the longer clip, but McCain evergreen scum clip.
Yeah, that is a good evergreen.
Get out of here, you low-life scum.
That was a good drop. I like that.
Go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to put that in,
especially when he's talking.
Yeah,
these
were war protesters, which made it kind of interesting.
These were the Code Pink people,
right?
And this wasn't played very well on any of the networks, needless to say.
No.
But of course, Amy Goodman would play this, and I do have the whole clip of the two incidents. The first one was when they came in, and then he called them scum. And then the second one, like 10 minutes later, two women come in and they demand that Kissinger who was giving testimony. And by the way, the testimony was just nothing. It was just, and we need to do, just crap.
I think that maybe we need to protect Israel.
And so he was boring, but these girls livened things up. But nobody else really played these clips except Democracy Now! And she was almost chuckling at the end of it because it was so ironic. But do we have it here?
You got Kissinger? I got a Kissinger evergreen is what I got.
No. That's a good one too, by the way. Play that.
Yet as we look around the world, we encounter upheaval and conflict and chaos.
Chaos. We look around the world and we encounter nothing but chaos. It is time I think we should kill some people.
All right, so I have the whole thing.
I don't see it, man. Something went wrong with your clips.
I'm not seeing it. Now, I'm wondering how this happened.
Something went wrong. Something went horribly wrong.
Tweet, Greek saga, no. Resisting arrest, that can't be it. Huh.
There's more than one clip.
It's a long clip, so it would be the longest one. So it would be the report on banks, no. It would be Iran 3 in the youth, no.
The longest one I have is deflation in Europe.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I said yeah, no, and I don't have the clip, but it's a long clip where these women come out and they bitch and moan.
Well, that's no good. We don't have it. We have nothing.
I don't know what happened. Because I remember clipping it and saving it. I must have saved it to the wrong folder, or I didn't pick it up when I moved it over to the Gmail.
Well, then, do you want to take a look at some more fake video from ISIS?
Yeah, let's play the ISIS stuff.
Okay, so I have a couple things here. Let me. So there's a new video, and this is now. Of course, now we have the source videos. This is what we're receiving, and this is from Brian out there, Brian the Gay Crusader. And guess what? The fourth video has been the file name, same naming convention, goto_dvd.mp4.
Yeah, it means it came out right out of Final
Cut Pro. And well, here's the audio. It's about a minute, and you can, and it's just hilarious to look at. While I'm playing this, I'll give you a URL to go to where you can see two things. One, there is the video, which you can look at yourself and see just the hilarious shot of the. Again, they put the so-called decapitated head on the guy's back, and some analysis from Brian as well. You want to go to itm.im/GoToHead, GOTOHEAD, and I'll play this clip in the meantime. And then all of a sudden it didn't play. Well set up, Curry. Let's try it this way. Of course not. It's I'm sorry. It's black. It's title card there. Here we go. Come on in, you jihadi John. And he's got the other Japanese guy on his knees, of course, and ready to cut his head off. And play.
To the Japanese government, you, like your foolish allies in the satanic coalition, have yet to understand that we, by Allah's grace, are an Islamic caliphate with authority and power. An entire army thirsty for your blood. Abe, because of your reckless decision to take part in an unwinnable war, this knife will not only slaughter Kenji, but will also carry on and cause carnage wherever your people are found. So let the nightmare for Japan begin.
And then he puts that little knife that is in his left hand, and he puts it against his neck, and we fade to black, and then we fade up from black, and we see, again, it looks like a photoshopped head on the back. And a couple things are very disturbing about this video.
You have a huge list of notes.
Yeah.
At this website of yours.
Yes.
And I would recommend people go through it carefully. It's very good.
And props to Brian on that.
Okay, Brian, good work.
Yeah. And so what you'll see there's the video. And as Brian says, 59 seconds, pause the video, look closely at the left side of the screen, notice the terrain where the so-called blood has spilled by Goto's neck, very different than the surrounding terrain. Literally, when you look at this picture, just imagine his head is not chopped off. It's buried underneath the ground. It could easily be that. Easily. And the head, again, looks photoshopped on there. There's huge white balance issues between shots. Of course, again, we don't actually see. Did you see the picture, John? You go to the picture down below. The enhance and zoom is what I called it there, if you click on that.
Okay.
And then you really see how fake that head looks. I mean, you can. It's a horrible Photoshop job. Just look at it. That head is not sitting on that body.
No, it's not. In fact, you can see the line.
It's out of proportion. Everything's wrong.
It's like, especially near the back under the ear. That is just a crappy job.
Yeah. And his hands are still clasped together. And of course, we don't see an actual beheading.
And the paint splattered all over his own face.
Yeah, why is that? That makes no sense.
That looks like it was painted there.
Yeah.
by Photoshop.
Photoshop.
It looked like anyone did anything.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of in one plane.
Yeah.
So it's like the paint over his eyelids is in the same plane as his cheek, which is actually forward. It's very, very obvious. And then the paint on the nose is actually overpainted, and it's kind of off the nose a little bit. Yeah, no, this is, and not only that, but the color, it's just a very, and the smearing it's so obviously Photoshop.
Yeah.
And not good. Although I mean, I don't consider myself an expert at moving stuff around on Photoshop, but I would have spent a little more time on it.
So chat room says, that looks like it was done in MS Paint. Remember that? Microsoft Paint.
It's possible it wasn't even done in Photoshop.
But this is, and there are real videos of people killing people. In fact, there's a recent one. I think I'd put it in the show notes somewhere. And it's not ISIS, although the title is, ISIS kills some lady for adultery. But it's not ISIS. It's some offshoot of Al Nusra Jabrati, whatever. And they taunting some woman on the corner, and they wind up just shooting her in the back of the head. That's real. That's real. You can see it.
Well, there was a beheading of that Wall Street Journal guy.
That was real.
And that was real.
That was real. It looked very different than all of this crap.
Yeah, no, it looked, the real stuff is sickening. And it's not
it actually, thank you. When you see a real execution or beheading, it's sickening, and you know it. Anyway, then again, it's the same file name convention. And we had another note from a producer in Japan. I think that's what I was talking about. It's very long, and it's in the show notes. And that is, our producer is Eiichi Kitagawa. And he gives us a good rundown of Kenji Goto, which he said actually Kenji Goto took his wife's last name, Jogo, for a second marriage. Hence, his real name is Kenji Goto Jogo. If this is done in Japanese culture, you take your wife's family name. One of two reasons. Either your wife's side, one is when your wife's side has female children only, so you change it to keep the lineage alive. Or if you were in debt, filed bankruptcy, your name is on some blacklist. He says the Japanese system doesn't have slave identifiers like social security number. So you can actually kind of change things and, I guess, get away with it.
Yeah, you can get it. You can
change your identity. Right.
Yeah, legally.
And then he has all these, this research about how he and his wife were making like $180,000 a year, had a super apartment, expensive area. It's a lot of nothing really concrete that that really tells you something, but just go take a look at the note in the show notes.
I think he makes a lot of interesting points, and we have talked about the nuttiness of that one guy who he says,
that guy
would be his buddy, because the guy's a psycho,
right?
And nobody mentions that in the mainstream media. In fact, I have the official Goto story clip, the way the mainstream media will play it for you.
More details now on 47-year-old Kenji Goto. He was a freelance journalist, documentary filmmaker, and author. He traveled to war zones and told the stories of people caught in the crossfire of conflict. He especially focused on the plight of children. Goto's wife said he had gone to Syria last October to help track down his fellow friend and captive Haruna Yukawa, who was also killed by ISIS. Goto leaves behind a wife and two very young daughters.
So here's what our producer says about that very thing. He says, I could find Japanese articles talking about his work in Iraq that was squashed by NHK back in 2003. So he was some form of a journalist, but I was not able to find any real articles from him. Come on, man. And then what was the other guy's name? Was
Zawa or whatever.
Yeah, he had something on that too. I went to Yukawa's blog, complete right-wing delusional vomit like, I was born on 1903 in my previous life and was killed in China. I hope to record myself fighting on my next trip to Syria. Notice his URL is Yoshiko Kawashima. His blog's title is a direct translation. Yoshiko Kawashima means beauty who is on male dressing. So maybe that's his drag name? Is a question mark? And this is all very strange. And
yeah, it's very strange. It's not well. Nobody's bothered to really look into any of this,
and also no one cares anymore. I think they had this format of the orange jumpsuit, the jihadi John with a knife in his left hand, which, believe me, no Muslim would do this with his left hand. Devout like they say they are. And then also jihad. Did you see his boots? Totally spick and span. Really nice, clean.
Hasn't been trudging through the sand?
I guess not.
Did you get any blood on him?
No blood on him. No nothing. But I haven't really even seen mainstream, even besides this report that you just gave us, really talking about it at all.
Well, that was a local station, and they were all playing the same.
Right.
The same.
It'll show up. It'll show up in the president's thing again. You know, it'll be like, well, he's killed another one. Well, maybe the president already said that we're so sad, so sorry. Maybe.
No, the whole thing is fishy. I ran into another thing that's kind of interesting floating around is what's going to happen now that Greece has got the new guy. So they have there's a showdown coming.
Yes.
And it has to do with the banks. And I came to kind of an interesting conclusion after I play these clips.
Okay.
It begins with this clip, the Greek saga with the kicker, which leads into the other clips.
The Greek saga. Okay. Yep.
Meanwhile, in Athens, the new leftist leaders of Greece pressed top European Union officials today to ease terms of the Greek bailout. But the chair of the Eurozone financial ministers warned Greece against rash decisions.
It is of the utmost importance that Greece remains on a path of recovery. This requires commitment to the reform process and to fiscal sustainability. Taking unilateral steps or ignoring previous arrangements is not the way forward.
The German government joined in the warnings. Its foreign minister rejected demands to forgive rescue loans to Greece and commented, quote, "We are difficult to blackmail."
I have a long...
Hold on a second. The comment, "We are difficult to blackmail."
Yes. I have the blackmail clip from him, from the German.
Play it.
Yeah, here he is.
Well, the Greek government, I hesitate to call it a government, it's more a gang, simply makes a calculation.
Excuse me, were they democratically elected? Did the people of Greece, were there monitors? I mean, was there any dispute over the election?
No.
This is now a German official, part of the European Union, calling the democratically elected leaders of Greece a gang?
Yeah.
Well, the Greek government, I hesitate to call it a government, it's more a gang.
Because I'm a German, you see.
Simply makes a calculus. They say...
they're on board with calculus. There's our word, yeah.
Germany will have to pay anyway. If there is a default, if Greece goes bust simply by refusing to serve the loans, then the proportion of losses Germany will have to incur will be so massive that Germany will finally give in and refinance Greece again. This is a calculus which is erroneous because other countries have made large credits to Greece as well, like France, like Italy. And these countries, if they are reasonably governed, which I doubt as well, should now be
What?
I know. This guy, Germany is getting ready to strike people. This is fighting words.
Solidarity with Germany, because it's not only for Germany to lose, it's for other big countries to lose as well. And may I remind you of the fact that the poorest country in the Eurozone, Slovakia, far poorer than Greece, participates in the loan to Greece in 2010 in order to help Greece to survive. So I, as a German, I like to be the advocate as well of these countries which are forgotten in the debate, and in case Greece continues to behave as the country behaves, they will be very, very bad off.
Bad off.
Well, it seems to me that a lot of people are going to take a little haircut on this deal if Greece tries to renegotiate it, which is what they're going to do. They're going to have to. And this is bullcrap. This is not blackmail. This is what any company does. Blackmail is a legal term and it's a crime. As you know, any company will have, if they're not doing well, they'll have bondholders and shareholders, and all of a sudden they had to stay in business. This happened with Ziff Davis. To stay in business, they offer the bondholders like 20 cents on the dollar, or they go broke. say, here's the deal. You have a $100,000 investment. We'll give you $20,000, make that investment, which is now worth $20,000. And you just sign off on that. You essentially take a haircut for, and I use the word essentially on purpose, a haircut for $80,000. But we're going to stay in business, and then we could, and you get some shares. There's all kinds of deals you can do, so you might be able to get your money back. Generally, you don't. But the alternative's okay. We're broke. You get nothing, and that is just the way it works. And for Germany to call this blackmail when it's a fiscal reality is absolutely insane.
And Germany's
a-hole. This other a-hole who calls them gangs and doesn't have much good to say about the French government, for example, which is another real government that does its thing. Germany is turning into this is what I've always thought would happen with the EU. Germany's turning into a huge bully that is going to start World War III.
Yeah, there you are. And I'm worried about my marriage. There's nothing. This is this is real.
So we go on, and we have another interesting story, which is this report on banks stealing property in the UK. I'm sorry. Can I do a little Greek before you move on? Or this ties in? Okay, it's okay. It ties in. I'll come back. You can go back to the Greek thing.
I'll come back to it.
This is really more about banks than Greek.
I'll come back.
The report on banks stealing property in the UK is a RT hit piece. And I believe that most of it is bull crap. But at the same time, it's bringing out this anti-bank thing that's going on for what I'll show after the next clip to be based on probably logic.
London's chronic housing shortage will see thousands descend on the mayor's office to demand a solution. They say rents in the British capital have been driven to unaffordable levels. Elsewhere in the UK, communities are rallying round to help others struggling to keep their homes, as Anastasia Churkina reports.
My home is my castle, a concept on its way to becoming utopian for a rising number of Brits who face being kicked out onto the streets. 63-year-old Tom Crawford is fighting cancer. A law-abiding citizen his entire life, Tom is also fighting against a system which he says terrorizes people like him.
The courts are supposed to be protecting the people. They're protecting the banks. The police are supposed to be protecting the people. That's their oath. And they don't stand on their oath, and they protect the banks.
The grandfather of two took out a mortgage and bought a home in the 1980s for just over £40,000. He's lived here for 25 years with his wife Sue and says he's paid off the mortgage in full. When the bank which provided the loan went bust, another company set up by the government took it on and insisted only the interest had been paid.
The price of this house wouldn't buy a decent Mercedes for one of their executives. That's how pathetic these people are. They're giving up on the money now. They want the properties.
If they manage to get them out, they'll lose everything. And they've paid for it. They've paid for it. They just need someone to look at our evidence. That's all, really.
Tom is a local hero in his town. Hundreds of supporters flocked to his home in Carlton, Nottingham from the crack of dawn as he gets yet another notice that bailiffs are coming to kick him out.
Would you want to be thrown out of your house if you knew you'd rightfully paid for it all?
Tom's case is largely symbolic as the issue of eviction has become all too familiar across the UK as an increasing number of people struggle to keep their homes across the country.
This does pertain to what I was going to play about Greece.
Okay.
Can I do it? Is it okay just to step back for a second?
As long as it's about banks.
Well, this wasn't about banks. This was about property. That was the whole point.
Okay.
Well, negotiations began properly today, and the new government has three broad demands. The first is to write off some of Greece's eye-watering debt. The second is to reverse the austerity. And the third, to reverse the structural reform implemented under the bailout. It's this final demand that's the real sticking point.
Okay, so that's what I caught. And that is about the fire sale of all Greek assets. And so that's the report I got, is that, the bank thing, renegotiating the debt, etc. But they want to turn, and rightfully so, they want to turn back this incredible fire sale where, the refineries, all the stuff is that's really going for pennies on the dollar, which is the same that happened when the reunification between East and West Germany, and they create these, we did this a long time ago, they create these the shell companies, and then they're the ones, and all the people are advising, and then they sell this shit to all their buddies. It's a bonanza, is what it is. That's what they're trying to stop.
Here's what's it's interesting to me when I heard this last clip, which is deflation in Europe.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hold on.
Across the Atlantic, the Eurozone reported consumer prices fell over the past 12 months, a further sign of soft demand and general economic weakness.
Okay, explain.
All right, so people have asked about this a number of times when I've said, well, I like the dollar going up and the euro going down, and they say, well, isn't deflation a bad thing? And I think this is what's going on in everywhere, at least throughout, and I think the austerity program plays into this, as opposed to what we're doing. I mean, which is why I still think the Fed is a good operation, because they're not out to screw the public necessarily, and they're trying to keep things on an even keel. In Europe, they want deflation, and that's what is actually happening when you're buying real estate or stealing real estate. In the case of the guy in the UK, or any other situation where they're stealing property, property is different than money. And the money situation, which was outlined in that last thing, where we're starting to see a lowering of prices in Europe, which is deflationary. Mm-hmm. And of course, the dollar's going up in this process. And they want to continue with the austerity thing, even though the public kind of understands that it's bad, because Americans got through this economic downturn much better than the Europeans, because we didn't do austerity. We printed money, which has an inflationary effect.
Right.
The banks hate that. The banks want deflation.
They want free money. They want free money.
That means their money becomes worth more, and they can buy, and so it's more valuable. So if you have a loan for $100,000 and you're in a deflationary spiral, that loan has to be paid off with more and more expensive money. You're paying more than $100 to pay off the damn loan. Right. If it's in inflation, you have a $100,000 loan, and all of a sudden the dollar just, everything's inflation. You pay off. You give the bank less money for the same amount of what it was relatively. And the Europeans and the European bankers are a bunch of a-holes, and they're the ones who are pushing for deflation so they can make out. We don't do it that way. We have actually, even though our banks are, they would just as soon have deflation, and they would do better for themselves. But the Fed, I know I hate to sound like I'm defending them, but I am, had the right idea from the beginning when Bernanke was cranking up the printing presses. And anybody who doesn't think that the printing press is being cranked up, we're buying our own debt, by the way, with that money. It's not like it's just throwing money into the sky. That has kept this country on an even keel compared to this craziness in Europe. And you're going to see the parity with the euro and the dollar shortly if they don't get off this. And the Greeks and all these other economists throughout Europe know this is the case. You cannot go. Austerity is going to cause a massive deflationary spiral in Europe.
Is there a cycle you can point to where this has happened before in Europe specifically?
I'm not prepared to tell you that there's a deflation. Yes, I can find it. I don't have it at my fingertips.
All right, that's okay.
I can find many examples of deflation taking place, and the banks are all giddy when it happens. Because they're in the driver's seat once it begins. They're loving it.
So here's
austerity will trigger it.
So looking at Greece's situation, I think there is a knight in shining armor who could come to their aid.
Well, aren't they already coming to their aid?
What do you mean?
Putin?
Yeah, that's right.
Putin!
He's the man. He's going to be Putin. Russia is going to take over this island. All the islands and Greece and Cyprus and listen to this. So there's this big fracas going on now in the European Union about this letter that was signed, a signatory, including Greece, that said Russia is directly responsible for the 30 people who were fried in that bus that was blown up in Ukraine, which is new for there to be an official statement and an official letter. And the new Greek government says, hold on a second, we didn't sign that.
What's startling, though, is that one day in and Greece is already renouncing EU Council statements. As for the point of contention, it was this statement that blames Russia for the killing of 30 civilians in the eastern Ukrainian city of Mariupol, which was shelled recently. Apparently, the Greeks say that they were not consulted about this, that they did not give their consent to be added as signatories to that statement. RT, though, contacted the EU Council, and a spokesperson there told us that while they regret that Greece wasn't on board this statement, they say that they did consult the new Greek authorities, which begs the question of how Greece ended up as a signatory when it was against it. Nevertheless, this is the first time, apparently, that an EU Council statement has been renounced after being published by an EU member state. So it just goes to show you that the new Greek government isn't shy about, letting it be known what it thinks. But it's also indicative of the differences between the new Greek government and the authorities, the establishment.
Okay. This, of course, is an RT report. Obviously, they're going to be all pro-Russia.
Well, they're also the only country they're the only broadcaster that will. Yeah,
well, of course,
do have any of this.
So the second piece of this I thought was more interesting. Here, listen to this.
It's very difficult in the EU to be the first country to break the ranks. Now that
this, by the way, is some other guy. This is some professor who was saying, okay, hold on a second. These guys are the Greek are the first to say, hey, screw you, Europe.
It's very difficult in the EU
Brussels.
To be the first country to break the ranks. Now that the Greeks have made the move, I confidently expect that the Hungarians in particular, but perhaps also Slovakia and Cyprus.
And these, by the way, are all countries that would either be a part of South Stream or other pipelines or other energy pathways into Europe.
Will find it easier to garner courage and to say no to the dictate from Brussels. You see, I believe that the moves such as announced by the government in Athens can have momentum, and that once you have the first voice countering the dictates and fait accomplis from Brussels, that maybe some other countries will follow suit.
And voila, did you see Spain over the weekend?
No, but that was expected.
So this is not far from Puerto del Sol now, and actually there's a sea of people that stretches right into the distance here. These ladies are singing Si se puede, means yes we can. Of course the name Podemos means we can, and that is the message today. People out here say they're just sending a message to the political parties in Spain that there can be change, that this year when there's a general election in this country, there can be a real change. And actually, according to the polls, there already is. This party has emerged from absolutely nowhere. In the European elections, took 8% of the vote. But now in recent polls, it's coming first. Now, whether it can...
That is interesting. All of a sudden, we have a brand new anti-austerity party in Spain who went from 8% of the European vote to the majority, and it's the Yes We Can party?
I love it.
The rent's too damn high party.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Is this another American NGO that's shilled in there and created this Yes We Can party? I mean, that's confusing to me.
I think this is the Russians.
It probably is.
Makes more sense to be the Russians.
Hey, Vladimir, I have a good idea. We call it Yes We Can party to fuck it to Obama. Ha ha ha.
Exactly. And the thing is that the Spanish, less so the Portuguese, but the Spanish in particular and the Greeks have a long history of collaborating with the Russians since the era of Franco and since the Republican Revolution that took place just before World War II, which was pretty much guided by the Communist Party of Russia at the time. And I think those old alliances are still in place, so the Russians can go in there and stir up some crap in Spain. Because even when I was there floating around, I'm hanging out with Garcia and these other guys who are pretty cool guys. But one of them was literally, and I mean literally, a communist. He was a member of the Communist Party. He's a communist, and he was always very skeptical about everything. And the country's got lots of these people, and they all knew that this was coming. I think the public in general in Spain knew that they were more or less scamming the EU out of all this money so they could build subways. And you can go to right now, the subway system in Spain is outrageous. It is fantastic. And there's nobody on it. I mean, there's people, I guess, during rush hour, but I went on, there's one subway system under Bilbao that is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I'll put some pictures in the newsletter.
Okay, good.
But anyway, this is good. This is fantastic.
It's going to be fun, right?
If they left Russia alone with this bull crap, let them do whatever they're doing in Ukraine, which has got nothing to do with anybody. It's not a NATO country. It's in the sphere of influence of Russia.
Well,
we had to go in there. Noodleman and all the Kagans and all, and Brennan and all these other guys had to go in there. McCain and screw things up there. Screw it up.
So I was watching it. I didn't clip it. I'm going to clip it for Thursday. It was a very long interview with Professor Stephen Cohen, who is the only guy we ever see talking our go-to guy on Russia. And long story short, he says not only are we in an actual Cold War, we are in a proxy war, and he believes that we will see NATO moving into some of the non-NATO former Russian country, a former Federation of Russian States countries, to take up protectionary measures there, which of course will result in the Russians actually moving into places like eastern Ukraine for real. And his assertion is that could be very bad.
No, everybody agrees with that thesis. This is not a good thing.
No.
But whose fault is it?
It's the crazy Atlanticist neocon jerk-offs like Kagan and Kerry and Noodleman and all these blowhards who just, and they, I wonder if they sleep. We would, after the show, when was that? We were looking at Noodleman's face. Was that during the last show?
No, it was after the show. I said
her face is blown up.
Her face is all chubbed out.
Because she's unhappy because she knows she's evil.
She doesn't look right. She was, if you look at her early pictures, we've used them on cover art occasionally. She's an attractive middle-aged woman, kind of cute. Yeah. Now she looks
the kind you see on Tinder.
I wouldn't know. Whatever. If you look at her now, she looks like an unhappy kind of a crone.
Crone?
Yeah, crone.
What's a crone?
You should know. You should know what a crone is.
No, I know what a clone is. I don't know what a crone is.
Yeah, you should look it up. I guarantee you know some.
Crone. Crone?
Yeah.
You could have just told me.
No.
Okay. I know some.
Yes.
You're right. A crone. Look it up yourself, people. A withered old woman. Or, according to dictionary.com, a withered witch-like old woman.
Yeah, operative words, witch-like.
Or, well, this is good. Meaning a disagreeable woman. Ugly, a hag. Crone. This is a good word.
Yeah.
This is an outstanding word.
It's an outstanding word.
This is a word that needs to be used more often, this word. She's a crone. What does that mean? Just go look it up. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's sad. It's sad. It's pathetic. It is, in a strange way, very good for the United States. Everything that's going, it's good for, we get to sell, because of course,
we can finally go travel to Europe at a parity.
We get to sell our weapons into all these.
Prices will be down. Cognac on sale.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it is good for us. I'm never saying that it's not. Just, what we do on our show for people who are out there know, we are pro-Americans, but we're coming from a perspective of the American public.
Yeah.
And we know that these a-holes are trying to screw with us, and they're out to get more money for themselves.
But I do love all the children of the world.
Yeah, no, we do. In fact,
wow, he did. Oh, come on. I got to call you on that one. Come on. You did a huge no.
Okay.
Stop that.
Now, no.
Yeah, no.
I have a clip. I hope. I'm getting very paranoid about this now.
You should.
What was it? They said it was about the... Oh, God, that's interesting. I have all these clips.
Your clip is, something's wrong. Deflation. We did crazy. No, I don't know. I don't know what you want to, where were you going?
Well, I have another missing clip That is
this is no good.
Try this. Let's go to. Let's start with. Let me change the subject a little bit, and I think it will come into play because I think it might be incorporated in a different clip.
Okay,
I'm hoping.
Okay.
Iranians are mentioned. Are here it is. Yeah, this is the clip that the public, the people that are like us, not part of the elite.
I mean, slaves.
Yeah, us normal slaves.
Yeah.
It's a worldwide phenomenon. Play Iran 3, which is the clip that discusses how. A lot of people don't realize this. What you're going to hear. You should know this, but you might not. But this is that talks about the youth culture in Iran. They're all like the American public.
Today, there is a tale of two Irans. While many clerics cling to a view of America as Iran's top enemy, many younger Iranians are looking to the West, hoping that normal relations will improve their prospects for a better life.
The population is one of the youngest populations of a large country in the world.
They're very much involved in internet, social media. They all have satellite dishes that bring in Western programming.
Iran is partially democratic. Churches are allowed. Women ride on motorcycles.
So a lot has changed. There is a yearning to be part of the world again. And that clashes with the deep xenophobia of the revolutionaries.
Your problem is not with the Iranian people. The Iranian people don't hate the United States. The Iranian people, probably besides the people of Israel, are the most pro-American people in the entire region. But the Iranian people don't control their government. Their government is controlled by a radical regime. And that regime hates the United States.
Yeah. Yeah, this is something that people don't know.
Facts. On the best podcast in the universe.
It's total fact. In fact, for a while there, Farsi was the most used language on the internet. The kids of Iran had iPhones, and I don't know if they still have those or how that's working out. But if you search around, for images of Iran, Tehran, 1970s, it's like the women. There's no hijab, shiboobs. Everyone's got their hair down, flowing, sexy 70s, like bell bottoms.
Women are quite beautiful.
Whoa, no kidding, stunning, except for Valerie Jarrett. And even she has something cute. She has something cute.
She has the features of. She got that kind of a
cheekbones
sharp
and the jaw.
Right, cheekbones are good.
Yeah,
it's the inside that comes out.
Yeah. There's nothing we can do about that.
But anyway, they also mentioned they had this is a long report, and I have some other clips from it. They had an Israeli guy who was also, saying we should not even do business with these people. They're terrible. But he also agreed that the Iranian kids or any, under 30s or under 25s or whatever, they're big pro-American. They love the crap that we like to make and the movies and all the rest of it. He said the Israeli youth are exactly the same. In fact, the Israeli youth and the Iranian youth would probably get along with each other.
Yeah.
Which is another thing that's going on that we're prevented from letting happen because of the people running the place.
Right. Well, exactly. So the message here is, hello, children. Hello. If y'all get together and getting interested in, I don't know, politics and maybe someone wants to get elected, you could actually change your future. Not that these a-holes ruin everything for you. Ruin it.
Yeah, well, the security state tries to keep that in abeyance.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of security state, did you see any of the confirmation hearing for the proposed candidate for Attorney General to replace Eric Holder?
Yes, I did.
Did you get any clips?
Wasn't much to get. It's just like you agree. I actually had a clip or two from the last show.
I have a couple.
Okay, well, why don't you play what you got?
Okay. Now there was actually someone sent a note, and
yes,
that was
very good note.
Damn good note. Hold on a second.
Why don't you play the note?
Playing the note would be better. Loretta Lynch is the name of this woman, and here is the note.
What's the first name of the guy?
Loretta.
No, the guy who sent the note.
Oh, I don't have it here in the show. I have his note in the show. I don't know if you want to be...
no, but you can mention their first names.
Well, I don't have it here.
Okay.
So the investigations of Loretta Lynch have started, Obama's pick for Attorney General. And here is an interesting connection. Loretta Lynch started Harvard. She co-founded an African-American only sorority. And there was only one other girl in the sorority. So there was two in the sorority. It was her and Sharon Malone. That is the name of Eric Holder's wife, Sharon Malone. And she is the sister. Oh, I'm sorry. No, the name of Eric Holder's wife is Sharon Malone. Yeah, she is the sister of civil rights activist and leader Vivian Malone Jones. And so there's all this confirmation that that this is not really an independent pick, but a longtime college friend of the current Attorney General's wife. Who would be, well, of course, this is what certainly the Republican Party would say, who has been a gatekeeper for the crimes of the Obama administration. And so I have three clips here that pertain to this.
Let's now. Do you have any clips of somebody asking this specific question?
No.
This is nepotism, plain and simple.
Yes.
The woman is pre-connected to Holder and the administration. And so this whole thing is a scam.
And this question should have been asked.
And the Republicans didn't ask it. And the Republicans have...
morons. They're morons.
No. They're not morons. They know this.
And they want to use
They're all part of the same scam.
There's gambling going on there. I can feel it. This is George Washington University professor Turley. And very interesting how a lot of people who testified at this hearing didn't really talk. And I found it disappointing, quite honestly, but they didn't talk about the candidate, but really about the crimes of the Department of Justice under Eric Holder. And for this professor, who I think is a Democrat, to talk this way was impressive to me.
I want to begin by saying I have great respect for Ms. Lynch. As I've said before, her extraordinary career as a prosecutor pays great credit to her and to her nomination. Indeed, if confirmed, and I hope she is, I believe that she could be a truly great Attorney General. If great leaders are shaped at great moments in history, this could be such a moment for Loretta Lynch. The Justice Department is at the epicenter of a constitutional crisis, a crisis that consumed her predecessor and his department. As my academic writings indicate, I've been concerned about the erosion of the lines of separation of powers for many years, and particularly the erosion of legislative authority of this body and of the House of Representatives. That concern has grown to alarm in the last few years under President Obama, someone that I voted for, someone with whom I happen to agree on many issues, including some of the issues involved in these controversies. We are watching a fundamental change in our constitutional system. It's changing in the very way that the framers warned us to avoid. The Justice Department has played a central and troubling role in those changes. In my view, Attorney General Holder has moved his department outside of the navigational beacons of the first and second articles of our Constitution. In that sense, Ms. Lynch could be inheriting a department that is floundering. The question is whether she can or will tack back to calmer constitutional waters. And any person who claims that they can get the job done alone is giving the very siren's call that the framers warned us against, and one that I hope this body resists. In my testimony, I've laid out examples of how this change is occurring. I've divided it between obstruction of legislative authority and the usurpation of legislative authority. The American people, in my view, have been poorly served in recent years by the Justice Department. The balance that has been sought in recent years has been lost, precisely as the framers have feared. The rise of a dominant executive within our system, a type of Uber presidency.
Yeah,
the king.
Yeah, and not that anyone understood what he said, of course. Too busy waiting for the Super Bowl.
What?
However,
interesting little tidbit about Sharon Malone. who is indeed married to Eric Holder. Very Harvardian-looking woman, very stern. Not unattractive, but stern. Documents obtained from a government watchdog on the Fast and Furious debacle. Fast and Furious. This was in October, just a couple months ago. Reveal the feds have gone to such lengths to maintain, and we've talked about Fast and Furious because we had the indictment of one of the cartels, the cartel guys in Chicago, and he said the whole thing was a setup, was done by the U.S. government. So the Sinaloa is this old stuff on our show.
Have we killed him yet? Have we killed that guy yet? Because he's got to go.
I don't know. They thought they threw him. They probably just let him go. He says the government, with the Fast and Furious debacle, revealed the feds have gone to such lengths to maintain privacy on the gun running program that even Eric Holder's wife, this is Sharon, has been granted executive privilege status. Yes.
Wow.
Judicial Watch.
How does that
found
work?
That the email correspondence between Mr. Holder and his wife Sharon, and between Mr. Holder and his mother, are being withheld under an extraordinary claim of executive privilege, as well as a dubious claim of deliberative process privilege under the Freedom of Information Act.
Wow, so you're telling me that Eric Holder wrote to his mom, hey mom, how about, pretty good, huh? We got those weapons in. What is it? What is the executive privilege? That's disgusting.
Well, what happens, I think he probably exchanged something important with his wife.
Yeah.
But what you do in the situation where you're trying to do a complete cover-up, you can't take a chance on something
being out there, right?
Showing up in discovery that now you can go off on, then there's what happened after, because you can start going after other people. So you cut them off because this is a massive scandal that just won't. This is like Benghazi. It's a massive, based on our thesis, a massive scandal of epic proportions, and everything, all this cover up that's going on around it makes it apparent that is a massive scandal. And the fact the public isn't up in arms about this,
I know,
and asking for impeachment shows you that the Republicans are right in on us anyway. And that's
of course.
The case with these hearings. You think somebody, Orrin Hatch, I heard him yakking at her. Are you Eric Holder? Oh, no, I'm not Eric Holder. I'm going to be different. Nobody brings up this connection between the wives.
That is, well, moving on. Cheryl Atkinson.
Or corruption.
Yeah, well, Cheryl Atkinson. Now, we know she is the CBS news reporter who left CBS to then go work for the Heritage Foundation, which was disappointing because she basically went to go work for a Republican-funded outfit. So she lost credibility with me, and then she had this, I was hacked, and it looked like a stuck delete key. Not good for her. But I appreciated what she said, and she took a different angle, and I'm sure the Republicans had her come in and talk about this, about the Obama administration's transparency in general, the most transparent administration in history, as is oft repeated by the administration itself. And she did a long testimony, just picked out 2 minutes of it.
The job of getting at the truth has never been more difficult. Facets of federal government have isolated themselves from the public they serve. They covet and withhold public information that we as citizens own. They bully and threaten access of journalists who do their jobs, news organizations that publish stories they don't like, and whistleblowers who dare to tell the truth. When I reported on factual contradictions in the administration's accounts regarding Fast and Furious, pushback included a frenzied campaign with White House officials trying to chill the reporting by calling and emailing my superiors and colleagues, using surrogate bloggers to advance false claims.
Techno experts. One
White House official got so mad he angrily cussed me out. The Justice Department used its authority.
Now that's an outrage. I'll have none of that cussing out.
Over building security to handpick reporters allowed to attend a Fast and Furious briefing, refusing to clear me into the public Justice Department building. Advocates had to file a lawsuit to obtain public information about Fast and Furious improperly withheld under executive privilege. Documents recently released show emails in which taxpayer-paid White House and Justice Department press officials complained that I was out of control and vowed to call my bosses to try to stop my reporting. Let me emphasize that my reporting was factually indisputable. Government officials weren't angry because I was doing my job poorly. They were panicked because I was doing my job well. Many journalists have provided their own accounts. The White House made good on its threat to punish C-SPAN after C-SPAN dared to...
I hadn't heard this, by the way. I didn't know that C-SPAN never gets punished for anything.
All they do is just play what the guys say.
Oh, listen.
After C-SPAN dared to defy a White House demand to delay airing a potentially embarrassing interview with the president.
I don't remember exactly what that was, but who do you call if you want to get mad at C-SPAN? Do they have a receptionist even?
Comcast.
I don't know.
50 news organizations, including CBS and the Washington Post, wrote the White House objecting to unprecedented restrictions on the press that raise constitutional concerns. A New York Times photographer likened the White House practices in some cases to the Soviet news agency TASS.
Yeah.
Former Washington Post executive editor Len Downey called the Obama war on leaks by far the most aggressive he's seen since Nixon. David Sanger of the New York Times called this the most closed, control-freak administration he's ever covered. New York Times public editor Margaret Sullivan said, it's the administration of unprecedented secrecy and unprecedented attacks on a free press.
There you go. Well, thank you, Cheryl.
That's because they're free press. The press would discover what incompetent boneheads are running this operation. Valerie Jarrett, what's she got going? Was Susan Rice, that little twerp?
There you go again with the twerp. Yeah,
this little mouse.
And I actually do have a clip of Lynch speaking. I already don't like her. Oh, is she from Chicago as well? By any chance, she must be from Chicago.
I can look while you're...
Yeah, all these people are from Chicago. So this is about...
No, they're all from Chicago. They're very careful about that.
Gangs. This is the gang right here. So this is Sessions. He's a Republican. And he's talking to Lynch about the right to work, about immigration.
And by the way, I want to mention I like Jeff Sessions and what his line of questioning in most of these things.
Yeah, he's pretty good at this.
Who has more right to a job in this country? A lawful immigrant who's here, a green card holder, or a citizen, or a person who entered the country unlawfully?
Well, Senator, I believe that the right and the obligation to work is one that's shared by everyone in this country, regardless of how they came here. And certainly if someone is here, regardless of status, I would prefer that they be participating in the workplace than not.
Wow. This is, for someone who has went through such hardship and annoyance and financial deprivation to achieve a legal status for a spouse. Fuck that. No, it's, make it easier, whatever you need to. Do you want to be legal in America? $5,000 per person. That's just what it costs. It's what it's going to cost you to do it. That's just the regular fees. And ever since Department of Homeland Security took over this mess, which is now it's a mess. It's not broken; it's a mess. It's intended to. The whole idea was, we can't have terrorists coming into America. Therefore, we're going to make it incredibly hard and have all these hurdles to jump over and hoops to jump through and fees to pay and lawyers to hire. And then you could maybe, if you're lucky, become legal to work here. That's not what happened to bring your huddled masses to Ellis Island and all that. No, we have 300,000 people in the Department of Homeland Security who their entire job is to make it difficult for you. Difficult. It's just stupid. And here she is. Well, so you should work. You should, yeah. Let's just make the system work, lady. Don't give me this. She should be. She's a lawyer. She'd be talking. It's the attorney general. She'd be talking only about law, and she should not be saying, "I feel, I think." This is just more Holder stuff. Regardless of what she feels or thinks, or whether I agree with it or you agree, anyone agrees with it, she's supposed to maintain the law and the Constitution. The Constitution.
Participating in the workplace. With respect to
that was. So you think that anybody that's here lawfully or unlawfully is entitled to work in America?
Well, Senator, I'm not sure if I understand the basis for your question as
don't you hate it when
to whether or not there's a legal basis for them to work or not?
No.
I ask you, we're talking about rights. Who has
Can I stop this for a second?
Yeah, sure. Of course.
So one of the things I learned from the impeachment of Richard Nixon was that lawyers, John Dean was the master of this. I'm telling people this so they can maybe use this information. if they're in a
All right,
court
well,
case or
hold on a second. That's important. This is new information.
If somebody asks you a simple question, is this blue or green? And you hold it up. And you say, I'm not absolutely sure what you mean by this. Well, she just did.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm not sure what
you mean by that question. Yeah.
That question I didn't fully understand. Right. I didn't know what you mean by this question. I'm not sure I know what you're asking me.
Yeah,
Those types of initial answers give you privilege in case there's a second trial or a perjury thing. You said this blue thing was green. And then you read back the testimony and say, no, I never said that. I said it was green after I said, I'm not sure what you mean by that. And I didn't know they wanted me to answer that it was blue because it was blue.
This, in Europe, they say, wir haben es nicht gewusst, which is what the Nazis said. We didn't know.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
And so when you hear the appointee for the attorney general using this trick,
she's a disqualification as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Disqualified.
So the question was simple. And she says she couldn't fully grasp it. Give me a break. Is she that stupid?
Yeah, she's that smart. That's the problem. That's the problem.
Rights. Does a lawful American immigrant or citizen have the right to have the laws of the United States enforced so that they might be able to work? Or does a person who came here unlawfully have a right to demand a job?
Certainly the benefits of citizenship confer greater rights on those of us who are citizens than those who are not.
You think?
Well, do you think a person that's here unlawfully is entitled to work in the United States when the law says that employers can't hire somebody unlawfully in America?
This is a pretty straight answer that she should be given to this.
I believe that... Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry, sir.
Sorry, sir.
I think that certainly the provision that you refer to regarding to the role of the employer in ensuring the legal status of those who are here is an important one, and that we have to look at in conjunction with this issue in terms of preventing undocumented workers who, as you've indicated before, are seeking employment. Again, we want everyone to seek employment, but we have in place at this point in time a legal framework that requests or requires employers to both provide information about citizenship as well as not hire individuals without citizenship.
Right. That's a legal framework, John. It's all over when they bring that up. Legal framework. What does that even mean?
Just a term you throw in.
Well, before we take a break, let me play another a-hole who was changing the Constitution. Although, I will say he has an interesting angle. This is Michael Hayden. Former
head of the NSA, former head of the CIA, and the guy during that torture era was all in.
Yep. And he did a keynote, which it's like an hour. It's pretty interesting to watch because he just listened to how he is now trying to justify the Fourth Amendment with spying on the American people. He has an actual justification for doing that.
I mean, for our purposes, it's about unreasonable search and seizure. What constitutes reasonableness when it comes to the sovereign authority gathering data or information or things?
Apparently, gathering data is now sovereign authority. Did you hear what he just said? Did you hear where he's going with this?
Yeah.
He's
doing everything he can to stay out of jail.
Yeah, but the Fourth Amendment indeed protects the citizens of the United States it's a reasonable. What is the exact text, John? I want to make sure.
It protects them against unreasonable, I believe. But let's take a look. Because I can't trust a thing he says.
Yeah. Okay. Fourth Amendment. I just want to get it exactly right because that is what you need to do in these cases. I don't have it on. I have an app for that, and it's not on my phone. The right of people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. So we are protected against unreasonable searches and seizures, and he is taking an interesting tact by talking about what is reasonable. And and you can argue what is reasonable or what is unreasonable. I find that's a conversation we should have in this country.
What constitutes reasonableness when it comes to the sovereign authority gathering data or information or things from the citizens of the republic that form us? And we go back and forth even today. I was struck was the word I was going to use, but I think the right word is stunned. After the Boston Marathon thing, later learned that the Tsarnaevi were surfing jihadist websites, and a significant fraction of our population, and not all of them wearing tinfoil on their heads.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me just take my hat off, you dickhead. This guy's rude.
A significant fraction of our population says, "Why weren't you tracking those guys on the web?" As if it was a good idea for the nation's security services to be aware of what permanent legal residents and United States citizens were actually doing when they were doing web surfing. So we
hold on a second. How would they even know any of this if they weren't tracking him on the web?
Well, they have something. They track something. They got some information.
They know that if these guys are searching and scrounging through jihadist websites, they haven't been to trial. No, neither one of those two has come out and said that. One of them's dead because a cop ran over him or somebody crushed his head. The other guy was beaten up and couldn't talk. So how did they know this if they weren't tracking them?
Well, it's probably because he was there when they talked to the guy whose head they blew off.
Whatever.
Were actually doing when they were doing web surfing. So we kind of go back and forth.
Yeah, kind of.
How we decide that what constitutes reasonableness is actually a product of the totality of circumstances in which we find ourselves in history.
Okay, stop.
Wow.
He just gave a definition that needs to be challenged, I feel.
That's a good one. That's borderline clip of the day.
Let me back that up a second. Because what he just... We got to write this down. Holy crap.
There may be a show title in there, actually.
Well, let's try it again. Let's see what he said.
Actually a product of the totality of circumstances.
A product of the what did he say?
Totality of circumstance.
Totality of circumstances. Circumstances.
In which we find ourselves in history.
In which we find ourselves in history. Okay. Now, man, that is good. That is good.
No, this guy's great.
So I'm looking at unreasonable because the Constitution doesn't speak of reasonable. But
if he was imprisoned where he actually belongs, he could have a lot of time to write some pretty cool stuff
with his friend Bubba.
Well, I don't know about Bubba.
Okay, let's see.
He'd get in
reasonable. Let's just look at reasonable according to the official dictionaries. Just, proper, suitable, ordinary, fair, usual. The term reasonable is a generic and relative one, applies to that which is appropriate for a particular situation. I don't see anything. Well, in the law. Hold on a second. In the law of negligence, I guess I'm not a lawyer. The reasonable person standard is the standard of care that a reasonably prudent person would observe under a given set of circumstances. An individual who subscribes to such standards can avoid liability for negligence. Similarly, a reasonable act is that which might fairly and properly be required of it. So it says nothing about, circumstances is mentioned in the law of negligence and what is reasonable, but being a product of the totality of the circumstance in which we find ourselves in history is an interesting take. But circumstances is the key word here. So let's continue to see what he winds up with.
In other words... this is fact. What I viewed as reasonableness on the morning of September 10th...
There we go.
I viewed in a very different light on the afternoon of September 11th at the National Security Agency. And I actually started to do different things. And I didn't need to ask Mother May I from the Congress or the President or anyone else. It was within my charter but in terms of the mature judgment of what's reasonable and what's not reasonable, okay, the death of 3,000 countrymen kind of tilted me in a direction over here, perfectly within my authorities.
By the way, this is another one of these memes that annoys me.
3,000.
I think it was like 2,000 of the people that were
from different countries.
Yeah, they were from different countries. I think it was maybe less than 1,000 countrymen got killed. And this is like the other thing moaning
you're moaning about it because it's true. You just keep lying.
And this guy's obviously, everything he does is for one purpose only, to keep himself out of prison. And now he's going to, he wants you, seriously.
Yeah.
He's worried sick. It's showing on his face. And he will make the argument that it was reasonable, because here's where he's really headed. It was reasonable at the time to torture people.
Based on the circumstances.
Based on this and that.
Where we find ourselves in history.
Was okay at the moment.
But you could take this so far and say, okay, I was speeding, officer. It was reasonable at the time given the circumstances. And this whole thing, these lawyers...
No, you can't have the public using these arguments.
Is he a lawyer too, Michael Hayden?
I don't think so. He's probably become one from recently, but I don't think so.
Let me see if he was a lawyer.
He's one of those
assholes.
Besides that, he wears a lot of badges.
Yeah, he's got a lot of...
and he's never been, as far as I know, ever been in combat or anything. Actually, in the field, he's a bureaucrat, government bureaucrat.
Yeah, he was 4-star general in the Air Force.
Right.
So what does he do in the Air Force? Let me see. He was born on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh!
In Pittsburgh. Well, there you go. That's why I don't like him. One of Hayden's first jobs was an equipment handler for the Steelers. Really? This is interesting. Well, that's according to the Book of Knowledge.
I'm sure it's true. They don't lie in the Book of Knowledge.
Yeah, he's just a career douche.
Yeah, he's a career guy. He's just worked his way up. He's well-spoken, sounds smart, probably one of the smartest guys in the room when it comes to little arguments. Yeah. He just kicks everyone's ass.
Everyone should, there's a link in the show notes, of course. Everyone should definitely take a look at that entire keynote. It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling how this guy thinks, and the brashness of how he's trying to stay out of jail. But these people believe this stuff, and they believe that
he's dead serious.
The Constitution is just to be skirted around, and by the way, I agree. The word reason or unreasonable, I have to look at this. There's got to be case law. There has to be Supreme Court.
Well, there's a lot of case law that allows cops to kick in a door if they say, "Oh, someone's screaming."
Right.
I thought I heard someone screaming.
Right.
And that's, cop.
But what he's saying is it's reasonable to spy on people because the next day there was an attack. It was 9/11. So he's saying future events make it reasonable to do something now. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Screw that guy.
Well. Yeah. Onward.
Yeah.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
We had a lot of support this week, and I want to thank every one of them. But before we do that, I have to go back to show 688, where I don't know how it happened, but I'm reading the thank yous, and the top of the list is Richard Terreo in Colorado Springs, Colorado, who gave us $167.38. And I just went straight to the next guy, Craig Covell, and I missed him.
Oh, on 688, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
and he's tried to get a hold of me to tell me this, and he said it was didn't work. But he finally did.
Okay.
And so I'll read what he had to say on 688. Why don't we sign up for the newsletter until we donate? Why don't we sign up for the newsletter until we donate? Question. It's the value for value model. Listening to the show without donating is one thing, but adding the newsletter just didn't feel right. So what he said, and I guess the point he wanted to make, was that I'm always bitching about people not signing up for the newsletter, because there's stuff in there that we never talk about. It's kind of interesting. And he says a lot of people don't do it because they don't feel it's right. But I was complaining about people who donate and then never get on the newsletter until I pull it off the donate list. This $167.93 combined with my previous donations brings me to 1/3 a night. Thanks for all you do, Richard, in Colorado Springs.
Right on.
So we missed that. I don't know how, it's so rare that we completely...
Stuff happens. It happens.
Things happen. Stuff happens. So this show, we start off with Evgeny, Gitlin in Springfield, Virginia. There's a Springfield damn near in every state. $133.33. He's listened another one. Luckily, he listened to the podcast for 2 years without a donation. And after he was handed a receipt with the number 3333, he had to donate.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Aaron Rush in Avon, South Dakota, $125. Now, you can read along with the side notes if there's anything we need to bring up.
We need to, yes. Yeah, if there's anything, I will let you know. ASMDSS
in Barrie. Yeah, how is that pronounced? Barre, Vermont. Bear, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
By the way, I did actually drive by Bernie, Texas.
Oh, Bernie.
Yeah. That's on the way to Fredericksburg.
Cool.
Yeah, I saw the sign. Boring. Hey, Bernie. I know Bernie. All right. Sorry.
Jim Purdy, or Pody. Got to be Pody. Poedy.
I say Pody.
Over here in Berkeley, I'm waving to him as we speak. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gregory Worley in Evanston, Virginia, or Evington. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s. Simon Tones, Toens, in San Francisco.
He's from Tokyo.
It's actually in Kyoto. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Kyoto, yeah.
Dan Serbus in Montevideo, Minnesota.
Yeah, don't they say Montevideo?
They probably say Montevideo.
Yeah, they probably do.
I don't think they say Montevideo.
Okay.
Montevideo. I don't think in Minnesota they say that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good old Jeffrey Yerke over here in Concord, California.
Sir
Jeffrey. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wanted to make it rain, but sadly I lament that Dvorak legend is shut down. Yeah. Tanya Wyman in New York City, who has one of the boxes I use in an emergency when I need to get cable.
Huh.
And in fact, I need some more. I've lost most of them.
A sling box, you mean?
Yes, the sling box.
Nice.
The sling box. Uwe
Putze.
In Ludwigsburg, Deutschland. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Matthew Zafir.
Danke, Uwe.
In Williston, Vermont, 111. Jeffrey Fortune in Geneva, Illinois, 108.
He has douchebag callouts there. Do you see him?
The douchebag call. Oh, this is from Matthew in Williston, Vermont. Douchebag callouts. Rob Linto.
Douchebag.
Chip Galusha.
Douchebag.
Chris Ramey.
Douchebag.
All listen and don't donate.
Douchebag.
Good.
Fortune, Jeffrey Schwab in Olympia, Washington, 106.92. Steve Curtis in Bristol, UK, 103. Richard Chow in Fullerton, California, 100. These are $100 donors. Joshua Papp in Reservoir, Victoria, Australia.
Sir Richard Chow, by the way.
Sir Richard Chow, that's true. Richard Riley in Loomis, California, $100. Scott Waldhair in Madison, Wisconsin. Mark Crapples in Wayne, Pennsylvania. These are all hundreds. Thank you a lot, by the way. Zachary Morrison Ruiz in Addison, Texas, right up the street from you. Matthew Frescura in Orlando, Florida. As I complete my knighthood with this donation, please remind any non-contribution listeners that they can cure their case of douchebaggery with a soothing release of 3333.
That's Zachary?
And so add Matthew Frescura.
Matthew. Okay. Missed that. Good catch.
Yeah, and then Bert Beavis, who is another knight, $100 from Maplewood, Minnesota.
We have him on the list, yep.
Lon Baker in Parts Unknown. Matt Stewart in Princeton, Ontario, Canada, $99.99. James Cates in Virginia Beach, Virginia, 9999.
Yeah. It's tough. I'm still writing down the non.
It's okay. 999. And then the spreadsheet goes nuts. Lucas Tahema. Well, that's
Tahema.
So it's got to be pronounced some other. What is it pronounced?
Tahema.
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 Tahema. Lucas Tahema in
Oostgeest.
Oostgeest.
Very, very close.
8888.
It's like horrible. Yeah.
He heard an increasing quality of the show items. Great stuff for traffic jams. S. Russell Williams in Boise, Idaho.
Boise.
Today's
second donation to get me to Barony of Southwest Idaho. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course.
It earlier.
Which is all of Idaho now. We've changed that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we changed it to all of Idaho.
Yes, all of Idaho.
Nathan Costello in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Michigan. Sorry. Alan Hawes in Windsor, Berkshire, UK. 7531 to 7777 for Nathan. Alan Hawes, Robert Lee in Clinton, North Carolina, 75. Ken Burchill in Ottawa, Canada, 7447. Patrick Visser in Winnipeg. Now we got some Canadians coming in. 7388.
That's a double ham donation.
Oh, yeah, 7388. Nice.
Yeah, 73s and 88s.
Yep.
Yep, he says.
Yep. Nikolov in Northborough, Massachusetts, 70. John Terada of Pasadena, California, 6969. We got these 69ers are back.
Yeah.
Peter.
Well, that's all Swazenoff-Karma for me. Don't you understand?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Peter Tangney in Randolph, Massachusetts. Is that right? Oh, the other one's Pasadena, California. Oh, we had it Northborough. Okay, I'm getting it. Joseph Gaz, I think it's a sir, in Wilmington, Delaware, 6969. Kevin McLaughlin in Locust, North Carolina, 6969. Sir Shane Pedden in Cartersville, Georgia, 6969. Sir Pate Schnakes in Amsterdam.
Baron of Northern Holland and Friesland.
Yes, 6969.
Thank you, Sir Pate.
Ksenia Tishutina in that's unpronounceable.
Ksenia Tishutina. She's Russian, I believe. She's not Russian. Yes,
could be Russian.
Yes, she's contributing every month the amount that is equivalent to in rubles to $1. So $1 today equals 69.99 rubles. So that's why, as sanctions on Russia weakens.
She's in Brooklyn, which is a Russian hangout. Oh, yeah. It's a big Russian part of town. It's great, by the way, to hang out. Go to the delis. 69.66. So it takes 69.66 rubles to make $1.
Less than 10 minutes to go. Okay.
Sir Thomas Nussbaum. That's good. You can use that.
I know.
69.35 Virginia Beach. Fernando de los Reyes in Sierra Vista, Arizona. 69.20 Herb Lamb in Sugar Hill, Georgia. 69.20 Chris. That's Sir Herb, by the way. Chris Grommel in Port Ewan, New York. Chris Johnstone in Tapping, Western Australia, 6789. Not sure where that. And there's another
6789. 6789.
Oh, 6789. Duh. Sir Sam Leung in Toronto, 6789, and David Dolson in Houston.
Sir Dave,
6789. Zachary Gilbreck in Cordova, Tennessee, 6633. There's a lot of people here. William Foreman, Oxford, Mississippi, $65. Nice town. Scott Parker in Tynesboro, Massachusetts, 5678. Samuel Lichtenstein in New York City, 5678. Patrick Sullivan in Birmingham, Alabama, 5555. Tagon Reeves in Vancouver, Washington. 5555. Stephen Novak in Bradenton, Florida, 5555. Scott Strait in Sir Scott, I believe, Deerfield Beach, Florida. Natalia Sakharova in London, England, 5555. What does she have to say? We'll give you some job karma at the end. Sean Mountain in Nuevo, California, 5555. Anonymous in Buellton, California, 5533. Sir D.H. Slammer, Baronet of Santa Barbara County, 5533. Chris Stewart, 5510, Princeton, Ontario, Canada. Archibald Kelly, Niagara Falls, slowly I turn, 5510. Stephen Woolard in Victoria, BC, 5510. Rick LeBlanca in Hope, Rhode Island, 5510. Kevin Beck Jr. in Tunkhannock, Pennsylvania, 5510. James Thurman in San Antonio, Texas, 5510.
New listener.
Brandon Stewart, Dallas, Texas, 5510. And also 5510, these are all 5510 for Robert Stokes in Middleton, Texas. Harry Beckema in Victoria, BC. Mary Paul Stewart in Seattle, Washington. To Ryan Thompson in Loveland, California, Colorado. Vincent Farrell in Burlingame, California. Jesse Simonin, 5510 from Parts Unknown. Wilhelm Martins in Vineland, Ontario. And now Naveed Khan, 5432 from Jersey City, New Jersey. Bradley Ingram from Willerton, Washington, 5432.
Australia. There's from Australia. Willerton, Australia.
Oh, Western Australia. Okay, I get it. Man getting boned by the crashing Aussie dollar, he says. Tim, you should have enjoyed it while you could. Yeah. Tim Hazel in Hanford, California, right down the street from me, 5150. Vivi Velo in Eindhoven.
Vivi Velo.
And he liked to out Jorrit Klutman as a boner.
Douchebag.
Mike Bruno in Beachville, Nova Scotia, Canada, 5102. R.D. Zwart in Almelo.
De Zwart.
Mm-hmm. In Rudy. 5077.
Thanks, Rudy.
Shannon Adkins. Oh, I think it's Dame Shannon, isn't it? Warren, Michigan?
It could be.
I think so. Mike Bruno in Beachville, Nova Scotia, Canada. Oh, I'm sorry, I did him. I hit the down key and this thing popped into some screwball mode. Gregors Kuliki in Berlin, Deutschland, 5001, says, have fun pronouncing my name.
Gregors Kuliki. Kuliki. Yeah,
Sir Brian Ferguson in Foothill Ranch. These are all $50 donors. This will wrap it up. Foothill Ranch, California. Edward Buchan in St. Kilda, Australia. Ranjith Ajakumar.
He's from India.
Yeah, he's from India.
Yeah, second donation. Don't think there are too many listeners for your show in India. And he has reasoning. Podcast has very low penetration. Even though most Indians understand English, we need English subtitles to understand American TV. This could be one reason why podcasts have not become popular in India. John is right about Indians being cheap. And this is probably because Indians have developed a thick skin against donating money due to the abundance of beggars in the country. That's a rationale.
That's the only thing that makes sense so far.
Yeah, I agree.
He loves the show. Aaron Havens in Spring, Texas. Henry Biglin, which I believe is a sir. Kew Gardens, New York. Christopher Gray, Covington, Louisiana.
Actually, he wants us to credit Sir Hank. There you go. Okay.
A Viscount of Queens. Christopher Gray, Covington, Louisiana. Brendan Chisholm in Vallejo, California, right up the street from me. Travis Salisbury in Chicago, Illinois. Jack Schroeder in Windsor, Canada. Carlos Pacina in Harvard, Illinois. Brian Steffens in Nashville, Tennessee. Adam Kiernan in Westbrook, Maine. Kevin Thomas in Smyrna, Georgia. Matthew Hills in London, Ontario, Canada. Eric Von Martyr in Van Nuys, California. Brian Matthews in Balbriggan, Dublin, Ireland area, 50. Eric Miller in Norwalk, Country. We don't have that many Irish. I appreciate that. Jennifer Bergen in Brick, New Jersey. Matthew Januszewski, Chicago, Illinois. Malcolm Crossbuck in Japan. Kirk Daniels in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Michael Mataloni, maybe a sir, in Chicago, Illinois. Should be. Keith Gibson, Holly Springs, North Carolina. Robert Mueller, I believe is Sir Robert Mueller in Chesapeake, Virginia. Holy Mackerel Software in Derby, Derbyshire. Elias Kakish in Hiram, Georgia. Ryan Jones in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. He's actually at Camp Lejeune, the town. Chris Whidden, Sir Chris Whidden, I believe, in Millboro, Virginia. Chris Picarillo in Hendersonville, North Carolina. Brian Timmer in Spring Lake, Michigan. Matthew Johnson don't call me Johnson, in East Troy, Wisconsin. Alejandro Vasquez in Denver, Colorado. John Quirk in Naperville, Illinois. Brandon Stewart, Dallas, Texas. Shane Rozdilski in Saskatoon, the Paris of Canada. Aichi Kitagawa in San Jose, Kitagawa is the guy who gave us the info about these guys. The Kitagawa Memo. Raleigh Hawk in Anna, Illinois. Joseph Kidd, 2 donations from Mount Shasta. Let us know if that was a mistake. Jeremy Falk in Muna, Yucatan, Mexico. Always good to hear from the people down in Mexico. Gustavo Patai in Jamaica, New York. And finally, Sir Mark Tanner, a regular from Whittier, California, comes in every couple of shows with $50.
Wow, wow. Thank you.
That was a lot of people.
Yes.
And we appreciate the fact that we do have an audience that can all jump in when it's necessary, and it was necessary.
And we're going to give you all some jobs karma. Thank you so much. Also, people on the monthlies. I got a note here: 11.33. That's the head mofo in charge. At 11.33, a monthly donation should be the Sonny Bono in the Trees donation. When you look at it, you understand it. But thank you all who are on $5 and whatever it is. Continue to support us, and we will continue to. Are you laughing now? Delayed?
No, I have something you have to write down.
Oh, okay.
You got your pen.
Do I have a pen?
I don't think you use a pen.
Yeah, I do.
But if we look down, Jason Richmond just gave $34.13, which turns his donation total into $999.99, and you have to throw in a penny.
Oh man!
Put him on the list, and his denomination would be Sir Jason, Knight of the River Rouge.
Hold on a second.
Which is obviously a reference to the Ford plant outside of Dearborn, which was one of the most massive plants in the history of the United States industrialists.
And his name is Jason
Richmond.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you gave me that there at the very end.
Well, there you have it.
Okay.
Dvorak.org/NA. Donate enough to be a knight someday.
Oh, well.
It's your birthday.
All right, so we have Quickie here, Sir Paul Schneider, celebrating on the 4th of February. We say happy birthday to him. And Intella Armour says happy birthday to Diane Marks. And we gladly celebrate those birthdays with all of you here from the best podcast in the universe. Happy birthday.
It's your birthday, yeah.
All righty, so now I have 1, 2, 3 knightings. We congratulate Sir Russell Williams, now becoming the Baron of Idaho. He'll be protecting all of that. Christian Herzog, Baronet, and Sir Paul Schneider, the Baron of Edmonton. Congratulations to you. That will be added to our peerage map, itm.im/peerage. And then we do have now three knightings to take care of. John?
Yep.
Matthew Frescura, come on up. Bert Beeves, come on up. And Jason Richmond, please all join us here at the podium. I'm very happy to induct you gentlemen into the table that is round with the Knights and the Dames. It is more than just a drinking club. And I hereby am proud to pronounceate the Sir Matthew Frescura, Sir Bert Beeves, Knight of the East Side, and Jason Richmond, Sir Jason, Knight of the River Rouge. For you, we've got Rent Boys and Chardonnay, also some hookers and blow if you want it. Dos Equis and Dutch Dominatrix, Bad Science and Perky Breasts, Librarians and Jaeger Bombs, long-haired heavy metal guys and Scotch, geishas and sake, vodka and vanilla, bong hits and bourbon, and of course our mutton and mead. I go to noagendanation.com/rings. Please tweet when you receive your ring. Very nice. Again, thank you for all of
with a photo.
Yes, with a photo, obviously.
And I have to say, some people out there look like they're professional photographers.
Some are really good.
Have you seen some of these pictures?
Yeah. Oh,
wow.
Yeah. We had a couple of Idaho donations. Something went down in Idaho. The Add the Words bill, which had you heard of this?
No.
The add the words bill. They're trying to do something there in Idaho on a state level that failed at a federal level.
House Bill 2 updates the Idaho Human Rights Act to add that gender identity and sexual orientation cannot be used to discriminate in the areas of employment, education, and public accommodation.
So this I find this very interesting because, of course, in my heart and in my soul, I'm like, oh, of course you shouldn't be able to discriminate based upon, sexual orientation. But the problem with this type of legislation, and it failed, by the way, did not pass. People were crying, and it was very upset about this. Actually, not that it passed; it didn't come out of committee. They're going to keep it in committee, which means it won't happen this legislative session. I think that's kind of the deal there. To add those 4 words, there's NGOs.
Now, give me the 4 words again.
Let's write them down here. Here we go.
House Bill 2 updates the Idaho Human Rights Act to add that gender identity and sexual orientation cannot be used to discriminate in the areas of employment.
Gender identity and sexual orientation. So the problem with this is the definition of what this is. And by the way, whenever they talk about gender identity or sexual orientation, I only hear LGBT, which is unfair by itself because it should be LGBTQIAAP to include all the types of gender identity. So you can't have one without the other. You can't say, it's only for LGBT when there's people who are bi-curious, there's people who are queer and questioning, there's people who are asexual, pansexual, so that is the problem. If you get fired and you say, well, that's because I'm pansexual. In this case, that legislation wouldn't work. But if you say, it's because I identify as gay. So this is where it gets complicated. We have to have an ID card that says you're gay, or is it all good? You can't prove this after the fact. This is very complicated.
Well, there's also the kind of mysterious situation where self-identification. I'm still baffled by the self-identifiers. There's a guy with a beard and
you mean Conchita Wurst?
Yeah, a good example. Yeah. That guy.
Uh-huh.
Conchita Horst is his name.
Wurst.
Conchita
Wurst.
Yeah, he says I'm everything about me is a man. I'm genetically male, but I'm self-identifying as a woman.
Yeah.
You fired me because I'm insisting on everyone calling me she.
Yeah.
Because I personally prefer being called she, because I've self-identified as a woman, and now you're firing me because I'm making everyone laugh at the company or whatever reason, and I could sue you.
Right.
I think it's a problem.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. The only way to do it, I guess, if you wanted to, so there must be age, I'm sure, is already in there. Age, race, religion, those are already in the human rights, because that's what it is. It's a human rights thing, which also, the whole thing is very complicated. But I think people are so. I have a couple of people who at one point they became friends with me on Facebook, and I keep following only to see how some people respond to this type of news without really thinking about it. An example is this: the Republicans in Idaho, they hate the gays. No, it's not quite that simple. It's not quite that simple.
That guy.
Get all these people out that hate the gays. No, it's not exactly. You have to be very careful with these things when it comes down to law, because you can get into a position where anything you do is, hey man, I'm gay and you screwed me on this and I'm suing you, and
you're married with 3 kids.
Yeah, I don't know how this would work out. I really don't. But the response is what's interesting to me. They have their protest is hand over the mouth like this. Put it so because they're being stifled, I guess. Surely there must be someone who's a smart lawyer who can figure out a better way to make this happen. Other than, I think we have. Yeah, I mean it's like, I don't know. John, help me here. How can you do something with this? I just don't see how you can't, right?
No, I don't see it.
Unless you have, because we have on your paperwork in the United States, what race you are.
I think you might have just kind of stumbled on something that may well happen.
Yeah, but you have to identify.
A sexual identity card.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to sign up for it.
I recommend.
You have to show it. I mean, this is we have this identification card problem in this country. I remember when I was a kid, I specifically remember it in the 5th grade, where they're excoriating the South Africans, the horrible apartheid South African, and they make you carry ID cards to go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what is that? What has happened here? You never used to need. In fact, there's one guy, I can't remember his name, he's a very famous civil rights computer hacker guy. The name, somebody in the chat room might remember this guy. He refuses that you show ID at the airport.
Right. Because technically you don't have to. You can fly. You should be able
to. You don't have to.
Yeah.
But they still demand it.
Yeah.
And he gets into beefs at the airport, makes a big scene when he shows up at the airport because he's the one of the few people in the world that actually stands up for his rights.
Yeah.
I won't bother. Screw it. I just show my driver's license going on the plane. But I shouldn't have to show it, and I shouldn't show it. If I had more gumption, I wouldn't, but I don't have time.
Yeah, ultimately you go into slave mode. Oh, all right, here it is.
Yeah, I'll just be a slave for now. And then
so if we can have gender, well, also by the same token, I would like to say it shouldn't just be LGBT, because what if I'm working somewhere and there's a bunch of L's who don't like me because I'm a straight guy, and they say, well, you're fired. Should I then be able to say, well, or Department of Homeland Security, by the way, that could actually happen or have happened with a lot of the
lesbians have taken over.
There was a lot of harassment suits.
We've had plenty of documentation for that.
Crazy stuff going on there. So then, do you have the same right? It's just I recommend a yellow star on the clothing. It's my go-to. It worked so well in the past.
It's worked very well. Totally.
Okay.
Well, here's a piece of news that I didn't know happened, but did you know? Play the Robert Mugabe clip. It's interesting for 2 dimensions.
And the summit ended with some controversy, Katerina. Comments made by the union's new chief, Zimbabwe's Robert Mugabe. Tell us about that.
Yeah, these were comments made by the new AU chair, Robert Mugabe. We must say they were behind closed doors, and we learnt of these comments through sources within the summit room. He quoted the former Ghanaian president, Kwame Nkrumah, saying that a good white man is a dead one. Now, of course, the election of Robert Mugabe to the chair of the AU did raise some eyebrows amongst observers who said that this perhaps wasn't the way to best showcase an African Union that was modern and championed democracy. I must repeat that those were comments behind closed doors, and we're yet to really hear any more reaction to them.
All right. Couple of things. Robert Mugabe is a racist pig.
Yeah.
And he's been an asshole forever. Mm-hmm. And the dead white man thing, no one will really pick up on that because no one pays attention to anything. Right. How did this guy become the head of the African
Union? Yeah. Most money.
What's wrong with these people?
Most money. It's got to be the most money. This is how all these things always work.
The most money comes out of South Africa.
Yeah, well.
That's not where Mugabe is.
No, I know. Zimbabwe. I don't know.
All right. Well, it's just I'm keeping an eye.
Keep your eye on it.
The African Union was, this is supposed to be the leadership organization that's going to help modernize Africa.
Wasn't this the one that Gaddafi was really pushing and leading? Wasn't that what he was? And he also wanted the gold African dinar. I thought that the African Union was his baby somehow.
Maybe it could be. I don't.
We'll have to look into that.
Now I have to look into it.
Yeah, now I have to look into it.
I was just aghast.
Okay, as we move down the home stretch here, I will give you 2 more. One is about CSE. This is the Canadian spy outfit.
Yeah.
A lot of news there about the levitation program. This is new. And by the way, I have to just say, Edward Snowden, at this point, this guy is a trained actor. I don't know if he started out that way. I got very uncomfortable when I started hearing him talk policy, and he shows up at all these conferences and he talks policy. He talks policy like a policy guy, not like a dude named Ben, not like a systems administrator. And he continues to then put on.
Yeah, he mouths policy scripts.
And then he puts on his glasses with the broken nose guard, the missing nose guard, which he does not wear when he's out and about in Russia. We have plenty of evidence of that. It's Brand Snowden, and I'm really not buying him anymore. Other than
you're done with Snowden.
Yeah, but he has new documents, and then they get passed on to what's his name?
How does he get new documents? Because I thought he handed all the documents over to the newspapers.
Well, I should restate that. Somehow he works in cahoots with Applebaum and Poitras. And then they write it up for Bild or whatever.
Der Spiegel.
Spiegel, that's right. And then the journalist, and they write that up. And anyway, here's the report about the latest revelations based on documents from Snowden at some point, somewhere, somehow, who knows.
Called Project Levitation. And according to these new documents, Canada is watching 102 of the world's internet file sharing sites, the kind used to share things like music, movies, and photos. Canada is sifting through 10 to 15 million uploads and downloads every day, looking for extremists accessing propaganda, videos, instructions on how to build a bomb. This surveillance expert reviewed the documents for CBC.
Canadians need to understand and have a debate about the extent to which it's okay for their government to be watching everything they do. Is it okay in the pursuit of radical extremists and defending Canadians from possible harm that the government sets up a giant digital X-ray machine over everything that we do?
Just visualize that for a moment. The giant digital X-ray machine.
Because that's effectively where we're headed right now.
CBC got these documents from journalist Glenn Greenwald, who first broke the Edward Snowden stories.
Okay.
He says this is an example of Canada taking the lead among its allies.
You know what? I apologize. This is not a Poitras and Applebaum story. It's Greenwald. That's right. Greenwald back because he has to get paid more money. He sells these stories. He goes to whatever local paper or news outfit. Says, okay, here's this thing. Let's put it together. Let's do a story. And then they pay.
In conducting mass surveillance.
You could be finding a terrorist, although probably much more likely you're finding a scientist or a journalist.
A podcaster.
Or a lawyer working on a case relating to some of those issues, or a student who's interested in those issues, or a citizen who's reading about them. And so you subject huge numbers of people to all kinds of very invasive surveillance based upon suspicion that is completely unfounded.
CSEC says it's all within their legal mandate to find foreign terrorists. The agency says it's not targeting Canadians, and if a Canadian citizen is incidentally caught up in this surveillance, they have measures in place to protect their privacy.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, of course. Yes. Oh, yes.
Sure there is.
So as we know, Cameron called for elimination of all safe ways for terrorists and jihadists to communicate securely on the internet. We do not want that to be possible. And this is now propagating. We have former Defense Secretary Tom King, who is, I would say he's probably in the House of Lords. And so this is who is, I guess to some degree, representing the people of Gitmo Nation East, the United Kingdoms. Listen to the fabulous knowledge that this man has of the internet and applications, but which one should totally be banned because the jihadists are using them.
I'm not a tweeter, but we've got Facebook.
I'm sorry, but he says I'm not a tweeter. Just want you to know that. This is how he starts off in the House of Lords.
I'm not a tweeter, but we've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Somebody tried to explain to me what WhatsApp is. Somebody else tried to explain to me about Snapchat. But my lords, I don't know about them. But what is absolutely clear is the terrorists and jihadists do. And the understanding is actually that ISIL, and part of their amazing advance across Syria and into Iraq, that their communications were so good and the way they kept together was entirely due to one or other of the last two systems that I've mentioned, which they handled with great intelligence.
Oh yes, the geniuses.
Intelligence work takes place within a strong legal framework. We operate under the rule of law and are accountable for it. In some countries, secret intelligence is used to control their people. In ours, it only exists to protect their freedoms. Protect their freedoms. protect their freedoms. Protect their freedoms.
There you go. It's only here to protect your freedom. So we will have to get rid of Snapchat and WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
Wow. Well, not much we can do about that. All righty. Well, we're still much longer than expected.
Well, it had to be because we had so many thank yous.
That's true.
I do have a few clips for the next show, which will be Thursday.
Yep.
Reminder. Including a little clip about the price of oil in Texas.
Yes.
We've talked about this before. Texas is going to be in a depression.
Yep.
Which will be fun to watch. Well, kind of fun. I got a good clip on resisting arrest. This is a really good clip. We'll save that.
And, of course, we'll be gloating over our call on the Super Bowl, which will be a Seahawks win, but on a technicality. A jip for Boston, which means we can be Boston strong and whatever. And cover up the Tsarnaev trial. Something like that. All right, everybody, thank you very much for your support. It's highly appreciated. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA for Thursday's show. Coming to you from FEMA Region 6 in the morning, everybody. My name is Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where the fog has lifted. Thanks to the No Agenda Show, I'm John C. Dvorak.
We'll be back on Thursday right here on No Agenda.
Get out of here, you low-life scum.
Climate change is real.
It's real. It's real. It's real.
ISIS, ISIS, baby. ISIS, ISIS, baby.
Adios, mofo.
The best podcast in the universe. Dvorak.org/NA